Chapter 875. The strange situation at the ocean land of the east had put a lot of pressure on the great land. The Asmodean Lord was already powerful. If he could become even more powerful, or if he could summon something evil, nobody would be able to stop him. The tens of thousands of young boys and girls, even though they were civilians of the Asmodeans, were still alarmed after hearing the news. What was more, the Asmodean Lord was still searching for young boys and girls secretly. In a year's time, the number of dead young boys and girls would reach hundreds of thousands. If the Asmodean Lord didn't have any ulterior motives, then he must have lost his mind. If he did, that would be horrifying. The Asmodeans had always been fond of cultivating evil skills, but such evil skills were appalling. Luli went into the wicked bead to cultivate with Jiang Qiling and Bai Qiuxue. The cultivation speed in the inner hall was fast. Naturally, Luli wanted to share it with his friends. Jiang Qiling and Bai Qiuxue were amazed when they cultivated in the inner hall. Bai Qiuxue was about to reach the human sovereign realm. She was confident that she could reach the human sovereign realm in 3 months. Time flowed by like water. 3 months later, Bai Qiuxue reached the human sovereign realm, and Jiang Qiling reached the middle stage of the earth immortal realm. Luli was embarrassed. He had been studying the line diagram and didn't try to learn other profound meanings. Therefore, he was still at the initial stage of the human sovereign realm. His 2 wives had surpassed him. Luli had learned 11 small parts of the line diagram, but the Feather Wind Castle didn't make much progress. The only improvement was that Luli could build a Feather Wind Castle in an instant. The castle could cover an area with a radius of 30 miles, and it was stable. 4 more small parts, and I will be able to learn a big one. I hope there will be a big transformation. Luli was looking forward to it. He didn't let his wives continue. The speed of learning here was twice as fast as outside. He could learn a small part in half a month. If everything went smoothly, he could learn a big part in 2 months at most. Luli had reached the middle stage of the human sovereign realm in terms of Xian energy and soul strength. Now, he only needed profound meanings to evolve. Luli didn't know if the line diagram was a profound meaning. It didn't feel like a profound meaning. However, he had engraved it into his bead of life, and it had triggered anomalies in heaven and earth. He had reached the human sovereign realm. A month later, Jiang Tianshun came again and asked to see Luli urgently. Jiang Tianshun brought a piece of very bad news. According to the information sent back by their spies within the demon race, recently, the great demon god had dispatched an army to capture young boys and girls on a large scale. It was said that more than 150,000 young boys and girls had died. The eastern land of oceans was filled with complaints. Many big clans were dissatisfied, but because of the great demonic god's divine power, no one dared to do anything. At most, they could only curse secretly. Dark clouds covered the sky inside the altar of God. Ghostly wails and wolf howls could be heard from dozens of miles away. Moreover, there was an extremely terrifying beast aura coming from inside, as if it was nurturing some kind of evil creature. The demon-slaying Hall deduced those evil beings should have already been summoned. The great demonic god had captured these young boys and girls in order to feed those evil beings so that they could recover their energy or become stronger. Patriarch of Law Enforcement asked Luli to lead a team of powerful warriors to explore the eastern land of oceans. If there were any evil beings, they should be eliminated as soon as possible. Otherwise, when the evil beings recovered or evolved, they might not be able to suppress them. Luli was in a dilemma. He was 2 diagrams away from a major diagram. At his current speed, he could finish it in a month. His abilities had not improved yet. He was not confident that he could make it to the eastern land of oceans. If all the entrances to the demon-slaying battleground were sealed off, he might not even be able to come back. That being said, if he did not go, what if the evil beings had grown up in a month? By then, the Asmodean Lord could bring the evil beings to attack the demon-slaying city. The consequences would be unimaginable. Let's go. In the end, Luli made up his mind to sneak into the eastern land of oceans secretly. Jiang Tianshun had promised that the mole would help him get there. Luli would sneak into the eastern land of oceans. If the situation was not dire, he could cultivate in the eastern land of oceans for a month. Jiang Qiling and Bai Qiuxue expressed their willingness to go with Lu Li at once. After all, the trip to the eastern land of oceans was perilous. They wanted to go through the trials and tribulations with Lu Li. No matter how dangerous the situation was, they had to deal with it together. Lu Li wanted to ask them to stay. However, Jiang Qiling insisted that if Lu Li did not take them, they would go by themselves. In the end, Lu Li thought that he could put them in the wicked bead. As long as he did not let them out, they would not be able to come out. Therefore, he agreed. Lu Ling wanted to go as well. But this time, Lu Li did not agree. The trip to the eastern land of oceans was all about combat abilities. Schemes were of no use. Lu Li asked Lu Ling to monitor the Great Land. Anyone that dared to mess around while he was away would be killed by Lu Ling. Yi Cha must go. He had learned the shrink skill and could take the appearance of an Asmodean. With the help of the mole, Yi Cha could gather a lot of information. Lu Li planned to take 5 Earth Immortal Realms soul slaves with him. More would be pointless. The rest would be to guard the deserted world and the Great Land and follow Lu Ling's orders. Bai Xiaoshuang insisted on going. Lu Li did not relent. He told her to stay in the Inferno. At most, she could go to the deserted world for sightseeing. She could not leave the Great Land. It was not a joke to ask Lu Ling to monitor the eastern land of oceans. Who could guarantee that all the surviving members of the Ji family and the Yang family could be killed? Naturally, Little White had to go. Recently, Little White had been refining its body in the Ding of Barbarian God. When Lu Li triggered the change in heaven and earth, Little White had absorbed a lot of divine energy. Its body was growing stronger. More importantly, Little White's teeth were sharp. If Little White could bite the Asmodean Lord's neck, it could kill him easily. Lu Li put everyone into the wicked bead. Then he went to the exit of the hot spring with Jiang Tianshan and teleported to the eastern sea. Then, they teleported to the city of mystic armor. Lu Li met with Lu Zhengyang and Great-Grandfather 5 at the city of mystic armor and told them some things. Then, Lu Li and Jiang Tianshan hurried to the demon-slaying battleground. At the demon-slaying city, Patriarch of Law Enforcement strongly requested to go to the eastern land of oceans. Some other patriarchs expressed their wish as well. At the very least, they could share some of Lu Li's burden. At the same time, if they could fight on multiple fronts, they could help Lu Li distract the enemy. Lu Li did not agree to Patriarch of Law Enforcement's request. Without Patriarch of Law Enforcement here, the demon-slaying city would be in trouble. As for some other patriarch's requests, Lu Li agreed. He thought that if things went wrong, he could let a group of patriarchs distract the Asmodean Lord so that he could go and kill that evil creature. In the end, Lu Li chose 10 powerful patriarchs and put them all into the wicked bead. Lu Li snuck to the southwest where there were many entrances to the eastern land of oceans. But all of them were sealed. In order to go in, spies of the Asmodeans would have to help. Emperor of Heaven Reverse, please protect your people. Chapter 876. Is this the place? At the entrance of a cave, Lu Li checked according to the map, and then sent out Patriarch Lei of the Demon-Slaying Hall. Yes, this is the place. Patriarch Lei used psychic power to check and nodded. This is a teleportation to a prefecture at the south of the eastern land of oceans, the Jianghu Prefecture. The son of the prefecture master, there is a sole slave of the Jiang family. Okay, lead the way. Lu Li asked Patriarch Lei to lead the way. Patriarch Lei took out a jade talisman. This was the signal agreed upon with the spy. They arrived at the end of the cave and saw a huge teleportation portal. Patriarch Lei and Lu Li confirmed and then crushed the jade talisman. Buzzing, a moment later, the portal glowed. Lu Li let out the 5 Earth Immortal Realm soul slaves and the other patriarchs. Surrounded by a group of people, they entered the portal. Lu Li had to be careful. What if the spy was controlled by the Asmodean Lord? Once he entered the portal, the Asmodean Lord would assassinate him immediately. After a glare, Lu Li and the others found themselves in a hall. There were only 3 Asmodeans in the hall, and they were smiling obsequiously at Lu Li and the others. Lu Li and the others checked with psychic power. They were in a mountain with several castles. There were a few warriors stationed nearby, but no powerful ones. The most powerful ones were the 3 human sovereign realm warriors in the hall. Okay, Luli was relieved. They had successfully entered the eastern land of oceans. This was the first step. His wicked bee glowed as Yi Cha came out. Yi Cha wiggled and transformed into an Asmodean, short and ugly. He flew out to check the surroundings. Chuan Pu greets Lord Lu, greets everyone. A young master of the Asmodean, dressed like a rascal, bowed to Lu Li with flattery. Lu Li nodded and asked, "Are they all your people?" "Yes." Chuan Pu bowed again and said with respect, "They are all my family warriors. They are absolutely loyal to me. Lord Lu, don't worry." Lu Li extended his hand and asked, "Where's the map of the eastern land of oceans? Give me a copy." Chuan Pu hurriedly took out a map, but written on it were the fiend race's characters, crooked like tadpoles. Lu Li frowned. Chuan Pu hurried over and explained, "Lord Lu, this is where we are, 30,000 miles to the northwest of the Edo Prefecture. This is the Edo Prefecture. This is the Kamita Prefecture. This is the Fuji Prefecture. To the north is the Beijing Prefecture where the Asmodean Lord lives." Chuan Pu explained, and Lu Li understood everything. Lu Li was satisfied with Chuan Pu. He nodded and said, "Chuan Pu, you are good. Work hard for us. When we conquer the eastern land of oceans, you could be the master of the Asmodeans." Chuan Pu was overjoyed. He knelt on the ground and even kissed Lu Li's shoes. He said with passion, "Lord, please don't worry. Chuan Pu will be your most loyal servant. I will die for you." Lu Li felt disgusted, but he could not take his shoe back. This Asmodean was so sick that it wanted to kiss his master's shoe. Lu Li waved Chuan Pu to stand up. Chuan Pu warmly invited Lu Li to a banquet to taste the special delicacies of the Asmodeans. Yi Cha had gone to investigate nearby and had not come back yet. Lu Li wanted to learn more about the Asmodeans and then decide what to do. Lu Li nodded in agreement. Everyone went to a nearby castle. A banquet had already been prepared there, and there were many beautiful women dressed in revealing clothes. Furthermore, many of the women actually had dog chains around their necks and tails on their buttocks. They knelt on the ground like female dogs. When they saw Lu Li and the others, they even raised their heads, stuck out their tongues, and wagged their tails. "Ha ha!" Chuan Pu explained proudly. "Lord, this is one of the specialties of the eastern land of oceans, female dogs. I have spent years collecting and domesticating them. They are obedient and sensible. Lord, they are still virgins. Lord, please enjoy them." Master, Master, before Lu Li reached the golden table, the 2 ladies crawled over. They stuck out their tongues and kissed Lu Li's shoes like 2 female dogs. At the same time, they wagged their tails. Half of their plump butts were exposed. It was quite an obscene scene. These Asmodeans sure know how to have fun. So freaky. Lu Li was speechless. It was true that many major races at the Great Land kept beauties in captivity to entertain their guests, but not like the eastern land of oceans where women were domesticated into female dogs. Also, their postures and expressions were no different from dogs. They must have been domesticated for many years. Lu Li was not interested, but the 10 patriarchs and the Earth Immortal Realm soul slaves were. Unfortunately, they could not do anything with Lu Li here. They had to sit there emotionlessly. Clap, clap, clap. Chuan Pu clapped his hands, and wooden carts were pushed in one by one. There were beautiful women lying on the carts, and there were all sorts of food on the women's bodies. Many of them were raw meat slices, fish slices, and all sorts of strange pastries. "Lord Lu, my lords," Chuan Pu explained with a smile, "this is a special delicacy of the eastern land of oceans, a feast of the human body. Please enjoy." Lu Li was speechless again. How could they eat raw meat and fish? The other patriarchs began to eat with curiosity. Patriarch Lei spat out a piece of raw meat and said angrily, "What the hell is this? Why is it so disgusting? Why does it smell so fishy?" The other patriarchs ate some and found the taste strange, but the girl lying on the wooden cart was intrigued. She kept touching her with her chopsticks. The girl squirmed. Her face was blushing. She was even more tempting than the food. Okay, tell me about the eastern land of oceans. Luli asked Chuan Pu directly without touching his chopsticks. Chuan Pu put on a flattering smile and said, Lord Lu, the eastern land of oceans has 6 forces. The Asmodean Lord is one of them, and the other 5 are similar to the 12 royal families. The Jianghu Prefecture is one of them. The leader is my father, Saburo Kawai. Well, my father is at the Earth Immortal Realm. We used to have 2 Earth Immortal Realm warriors, but you killed one. The other 4 are the Watanabe family of the Eastern Sun Prefecture, the North Sea Prefecture. Sure, Chuan Pu's explanation gave Lu Li a general understanding of the eastern land of oceans. He asked the important questions. It is said that the Asmodean Lord captured many young boys and girls. Did he summon a demon? Is that true? Very likely. Chuan Pu said with a dignified expression. The Jianghu Prefecture has been ordered to send 40,000 young boys and girls. According to our spies, the altar of God has been open for more than a year. The great demonic god is guarding there, and no one is allowed to approach. If we are right, the Asmodean Lord must have used the Asmodean summoning skill and summoned a dragon demon from the region of Doom. According to ancient records, the dragon demon likes to eat young boys and girls. It is said that in ancient times, a dragon demon ate 490,000 young boys and girls. It was powerful enough to sweep across the eastern land of oceans. In the end, it was the avatar of the Asmodean Emperor that killed the dragon demon. Dragon demon? His battle prowess is at the divine realm? Chapter 877. It was said that in order for the dragon demon to become an immortal, it must eat 490,000 young boys and girls. The dragon demon had only eaten 100,000. Therefore, Lu Li still had time. Of course, time was running out. Based on the current progress, in 3 months at most, the 490,000 young boys and girls would be collected. The Asmodean Lord had given the order that the 5 forces must provide 100,000 young boys and girls in 3 months. The other forces were dragging their feet. The Jianghu Prefecture, for example, had only sent 40,000. That being said, nobody dared to disobey the Asmodean Lord's order. All the young boys and girls would be delivered in 3 months. By then, the dragon demon would be at its prime. It would be able to kill anything that stood in its way. 3 months was the most conservative time. Lu Li thought for an hour and decided to take 2 steps at the same time. First, he would cultivate here. Second, he would ask Chuan Pu to trick Lu Li's father over and take control of the Jianghu Prefecture indirectly. Then, he would ask Chuan Pu's father to trick the leaders of the nearby forces over and take control of the Jianghu Prefecture. By taking control of 2 or 3 leaders, Lu Li could control them not to provide young boys and girls. In that case, the dragon demon would not have so much food. Another advantage was that Lu Li could control those forces to rebel and lure the Asmodean Lord over. When he finished the first diagram, he could sneak into the forbidden land of God and kill the dragon demon. When the dragon demon was dead, the Asmodean Lord would not be able to do anything no matter how furious he was. Lu Li was not afraid of the Asmodean Lord. He could come and go as he pleased. Lu Li did not take action right away after he made up his mind. Instead, he asked Chuan Pu to collect detailed information about the eastern land of oceans. At the same time, he asked the 10 patriarchs and Earth Immortal Realm soul slaves to monitor the surroundings. Apart from Chuan Pu, nobody was allowed to go out. They had to monitor all the movements of the armies in case information was leaked. The eastern land of oceans was filled with danger. Lu Li might not be able to survive, but the patriarchs and Earth Immortal Realm soul slaves could lose their lives. Therefore, Lu Li had to be extra careful. The patriarchs and 9th uncle of June understood the importance of this matter. None of them dared to act rashly. They were stationed in different places to monitor the situation. Warriors and servants were all under their watch. Lu Li entered the Wicked Bead to cultivate. Jiang Qiling and Bai Qiuxue were in the Wicked Bead as well. Jiang Qiling wanted to go and have a look when she heard that they had reached the eastern land of oceans. Lu Li did not ask her to go out. The outside world was similar to the Great Land. There was nothing to see. After 10 days of closed-door cultivation, Luli had learned another small diagram. Now, there was only one left. Chuanpu came back and gathered some information. The forces did not hand over all the young boys and girls at once. Their leaders were afraid that the Asmodean Lord could not control the dragon demon, which would lead to a catastrophe at the eastern land of oceans. Luli acted decisively and asked Chuanpu to find a way to trick his father over. Chuanpu was struggling. That being said, he was a sole slave of the Jiang family. What was more, Luli had offered him a piece of cake. If he conquered the eastern land of oceans, he could be the next Asmodean Lord. Chuanpu was convinced. Luli did not go back to the wicked bead to cultivate. He sent all the patriarchs and Earth Immortal Realm soul slaves into the wicked bead. Luli used shrink skill to shrink his body and hid among the warriors, waiting for Chuanpu's father, Chuanjing's arrival. Jianghu City was nearby. Only 6 hours later, the teleportation array here lit up, and then 4 or 5 figures appeared outside the castle. A short man who looked like Chuanpu, with fierce eyes and a thick beard, let a few people out. Chuanpu, what is going on? Chuanjing came over and used psychic power to check the surroundings. He was alarmed. Chuanpu sent a message saying that valuable treasures were found here, so Chuanjing hurried over. Chuanpu was sitting in the castle. Instead of being happy, Chuanjing seemed to be worried. Naturally, Chuanjing became suspicious. Something is not right. Chuanjing suddenly turned to Lu Li, who was outside the castle. Chuanjing noticed something was wrong. Even though Lu Li was disguised as an Asmodean, he had a strong human energy. Humans charge! Chuanjing bellowed. Then, he was about to dash into the crack in space. Lu Li grinned and said, Chuanjing, I have been waiting for you. It is too late to run now. Bang, Lu Li took out his bead of life. With him, as the center, the space with a radius of 30 miles trembled. A cyan-colored, half-transparent castle came out, covering up an area with a radius of 30 miles. Everyone was enveloped by the feather wind castle. Everyone, including Chuanjing, hugged their heads and howled in pain. The feather wind castle was filled with feather wind, and soul attacks were horrifying. Even the Asmodean Lord would suffer, let alone Chuanjing. Soon, all the warriors passed out. The human sovereign realm warrior lasted for 10 breaths. After the time for 20 breaths, Chuanjing passed out. Not a single person in the castle was conscious. Done. Lu Li deactivated the feather wind castle and began to seize souls. He was familiar with this. In less than an hour, Chuanjing had become Lu Li's soul slave. It was true that taking too many soul slaves would affect Lu Li's soul, but there was no other way. He could just kill them after he was used up. Last time, the Feather Race Earth Immortal Realm warrior he took in at the demon-slaying city was killed by Lu Li. Having too many soul slaves would affect one's cultivation. Gradually, more and more people woke up. Lu Li changed back to his original appearance. He took off the Asmodean armor and sat in the castle. Master Chuanjing walked in with a bitter face. His life was no longer his own now that he had become Lu Li's soul slave. From now on, he would have to listen to Lu Li's orders. He had been tricked by his own son. Well, find a way to lure the masters of nearby forces here. Before you do that, tell Chuanpu to tell me. Also, do not send young boys and girls to the Asmodean Lord. Now, you're dismissed. Lu Li waved Chuanjing away and told Chuanpu to stay here. At the same time, he sent out the 10 patriarchs and Earth Immortal Realm soul slaves to monitor the surroundings. This time, in merely 7 days, the wicked bead began to tremble. Lu Li checked with psychic power. Uncle 9 of the Jun family reported, Young Master, Chuanjing has sent a message. He is here with a leader of a force. Okay, Lu Li was delighted. He did what he did before. This time, he did not disguise himself as an Asmodean. He stood behind Chuanpu and waited outside the teleportation formation. He gathered the elders and the soldiers 100 miles away so that they wouldn't all faint again. Buzzing, an hour later, the teleportation formation glowed. Chuan Jing came with a group of people. There were 2 Earth Immortal Realm warriors with him. Boom! The Featherwind Castle took shape in an instant. Now that everyone was under control, the rest would be easier. There were 2 Earth Immortal Realm warriors from another force. Lu Li killed one and took the other one as a soul slave. It's about time. Time is running out. Lu Li felt it was time to set off for the altar after he took down the leader of the other force. Chapter 878. In 10 days, seal off the teleportation formation connected to the Beijing city. Then, send someone to inform the Asmodean Lord that children will no longer be sent to the Asmodean Lord. If the Asmodean Lord is stubborn, you will announce that you will no longer accept his rule and declare independence. Also, create public opinion and tell the entire eastern land of oceans that once the dragon demon grows up, the entire eastern land of oceans will turn into hell and all the Asmodeans will die. After you inform the Asmodean Lord, go into hiding or he will kill you. At the same time, create some chaos. For example, get some warriors to pretend to be rebels and attack the cities. All in all, you must make the area under your rule chaotic. Also, get someone to spread rumors. You want the other forces to be in chaos as well. In the end, the entire eastern land of oceans will be in chaos. Remember, you can only survive when the eastern land of oceans is in chaos. Otherwise, you will be killed by the Asmodean Lord. When I kill the dragon demon, I will deal with the Asmodean Lord. Once I kill him, I will let the 2 of you divide the eastern land of oceans equally and set you free in 100 years. I will make you the Asmodean Lord of the eastern land of oceans. Also, you can spread some rumors about the Asmodean Lord. Say that he is under the control of the dragon demon and that he is capturing children by force. He is trying to turn the entire eastern land of oceans into a land of demons. In short, discredit him, make him lose the support of the people, and make the eastern land of oceans more chaotic. Lu Li and the 2 chiefs discussed for half a day. They told him many things and settled many details. The 2 chiefs left in a hurry. Lu Li and the others took action. It was not practical to go to the Beijing city by teleportation formation. Lu Li's human energy was too strong. As soon as he teleported over, he would be discovered. Therefore, Lu Li must fly over. The eastern land of oceans was not large, much smaller than the Great Land. That being said, it would take at least half a month to fly from the south to the north without being discovered. To prevent information from being leaked, apart from Chuan Pu and the 2 human sovereign realm warriors, Lu Li ordered Chuan Pu to kill all the warriors and servants in the castle. Though many of the servants were not strong, Lu Li had a heart of steel. The eastern land of oceans was full of danger. One wrong move, and they would fall into an abyss. If the information was leaked and they were ambushed by the Asmodean Lord, Lu Li might lose his life here. Let's go. Making sure that everyone was killed, Lu Li waved his hand and told Chuan Pu to take him and the 2 human sovereign realm warriors to the north. On the other hand, Yi Gu was scouting ahead. With Yi Gu scouting ahead, the journey would be very safe. Unless an earthly immortal realm expert from the devil race appeared. Otherwise, no one would be able to escape Yi Gu's detection. During this time, Yi Cha had been searching around. He had also practiced a kind of evil magic of the devil race. His body had the aura of the devil race. When he used the bone shrinking skill, no one would be able to tell that he was a member of the alien race except for the Earth Immortal Realm fiends. After flying for a day, Yi Jia left the route in the wilderness, and he did not encounter any demons. Lu Li put his mind at ease. He entered the wicked bead and gave it to Yi Cha to carry while he cultivated in the wicked bead. There was one last small diagram. Lu Li planned to study it on the way. In this way, he could engrave the entire diagram. Maybe the Featherwind Castle would be more powerful. Yi Cha carried the wicked bead with Chuan Pu and the others following him. Half a month later, they had covered more than half of the distance. Nothing unexpected happened. Yi Cha was the best scout of the Heaven Reverse universe. Nobody could find him easily. The eastern land of oceans was in a state of chaos. The 2 chiefs were acting according to Lu Li's plan. First, The two chiefs sent someone to report to the Asmodean lord. Due to the grievances of the people, many places under their jurisdiction were rioting. Therefore, they would no longer send young boys and girls. The teleportation formation connected to the Beijing was closed. If the Asmodean lord did not take back his order and continued to act willfully without regard for the people, the two prefectures would no longer accept his rule. At the same time, the two chiefs sent someone to other prefectures to spread rumors. They even had warriors disguised as mobs to cause trouble. Rumors spread out. The entire eastern land of oceans was in a state of chaos. Up until now, over 200,000 young boys and girls have been captured at the eastern land of oceans. Given the population of the eastern land of oceans, 200,000 was a small number. That being said, those were young boys and girls, young children. Children were the treasures of their parents, not only for humans, but also for the Asmodeans. Feeding children to monsters? How could such an atrocity not stir the eastern land of oceans? Rumor had it that the dragon demon was going to eat 50 million young boys and girls. It was said that the Asmodean lord was under the control of the dragon demon. People in many places were rioting. The two prefectures declared that they would no longer recognize the Asmodean lord. They would seek independence and fight against the Asmodean lord together to kill the dragon demon. The dragon demon was a monster from the region of Doom. It had invaded the eastern land of oceans and was going to devour all the Asmodeans. In history, there was one dragon demon that caused the death of tens of billions of Asmodeans. In the end, it was the avatar of the Asmodean emperor that killed the dragon demon. All the people of the eastern land of oceans had to work together to fight against the Asmodean lord before the dragon demon grew up. Otherwise, when the dragon demon grew up, all the Asmodeans would perish. Rumors were flying around. In addition to the two prefectures, the leaders of the other forces were panicking. Mobs under their rule were attacking the cities. Mobs were everywhere. If they were to capture more young boys and girls, they might lose their positions as chiefs. Many warriors under their command were showing signs of rioting as well. Many Asmodeans were in a state of panic. Not long ago, the Asmodeans returned from the demon-slaying battleground with a great loss. It was said that there was a talented warrior among the humans. Not even the Asmodean lord was a match for him. That warrior was going to lead an army to the eastern land of oceans. The Asmodeans were already in a state of panic. Now that something like this had happened, the eastern land of oceans was in an even more precarious state. If the situation was not handled properly, there might be a riot. Beijing City. To the north of the city was a mountain. This was a forbidden area. Guards were stationed day and night. Anyone who dared to approach would be killed immediately. In the forbidden area was an altar with a height of more than 10,000 feet. At the moment, the Asmodean lord was sitting in a temple next to the altar. He flew into a rage when he heard the report from his subordinates. Are Chuan Jing and Watanabe courting death? How dare they defy my order? The Asmodean lord's eyes glowed red. He gave the order at once, execute their messengers. Also, send a message to them. If they do not send over young boys and girls in 10 days, I will wipe out their entire race. An Asmodean Earth, immortal realm warrior cupped his fists and accepted the order. But he did not leave at once. Instead, he reported something else. Asmodean Lord, I have been sending out reports. There are riots in many places. Rumors are spreading. Some mobs are attacking the cities. Several chiefs have sent people over to ask if we should stop capturing young boys and girls. Otherwise, there will be riots. Charge! Chapter 879. As far as the Asmodean Lord was concerned, it did not matter if the entire eastern land of oceans was against him. He had absolute power. He could kill anyone that disobeyed him. He had paid a huge price to summon the dragon demon. He would not allow anything to go wrong. He could suppress a major riot, let alone a small one. Any Asmodean would have to yield to him in the face of absolute power. What disappointed Lu Li was that the Asmodean Lord did not leave the forbidden land of God. He did not even send someone to suppress the riot. The two chiefs could even declare independence, not to mention going against him. At the moment, The most important thing for him was to train the dragon demon. As long as this beast from the region of doom could grow stronger, all the other sacrifices would be worthwhile. Even if the eastern land of oceans could lose hundreds of millions of people, as long as the dragon demon could grow up, Luli could break into the demon-slaying city and lead the Asmodeans into the Great Land. Given the Asmodeans' reproductive ability, in a few hundred years, the population of the Asmodeans would multiply. By then, the Asmodeans would be able to dominate the heaven-reverse universe. The eastern land of oceans was a small place with limited resources. The Asmodeans had a large population. They could not feed the Asmodeans without mystical materials to train powerful warriors. Only by conquering the Great Land could the Asmodeans develop rapidly and restore the glory of the ancient times. The Asmodean lord's words were spread far and wide. Not only did it fail to frighten the Asmodeans, but it also enraged them. The rumor was getting worse. For the Asmodeans, the Asmodean lord was their god, their leader that would protect and protect them. Not only did the Asmodean lord not protect them, but he was also cruel and violent. This indirectly confirmed a rumor. The Asmodean lord was controlled by the dragon demon. The Asmodean lord was no longer their god, and he would no longer protect them. The other Asmodean lords were panicking. The Asmodean lord was powerful. If he was really controlled by the dragon demon, then it would be the end of the eastern land of oceans. More importantly, the Asmodean lord was in the forbidden land of God at the moment. In the end, the Asmodean lord of that generation had to summon an avatar of the Asmodean emperor from the forbidden land of God to defeat the dragon demon. The Asmodean lord was in control of the forbidden land of God, and the dragon demon was in there. They were not Asmodeans and did not know how to summon the Asmodean emperor. For a moment, none of the Asmodeans knew what to do. The leaders communicated for a while. Guided by Lu Li's two soul slaves, most of the leaders reached a consensus. They would refuse to give away young boys and girls so that the Asmodean lord would take action. Then, powerful warriors would be sent to the forbidden land of God to investigate. First, they would confirm if the dragon demon had taken control of the Asmodean lord and the powerful Asmodeans in the Beijing city. If he could control the dragon demon, then he must find a way to kill it. If there was no more control, everyone would pledge their loyalty to the great demonic god again. The great demonic god couldn't possibly kill all the leaders, right? All the leaders sent out messengers to the Beijing city to ask the Asmodean lord to come out and explain to him that the dragon demon was not controlling the Asmodean lord and that the meeting would be held at the Dubian city. After the great demonic god received the news, he flew into a rage. This group of idiots thought themselves infallible and wanted to ruin his great plans. But the Asmodean lord knew that he had to come out this time. After all, if the forces did not give away young boys and girls, the dragon demon would have no food to grow. The Asmodean lord did not think too much. He assumed that his subordinates were complaining about the defeat and the loss of young boys and girls. The Asmodean lord was also suspicious. He did not think that Luli was behind all this. The Asmodean lord sent out a message that he would go to the Dubian city in 5 days, and all the leaders who had doubts should gather there. Those who did not come would be killed without mercy. The Asmodean lord is going to take action. Lu Li and the others were close to the Beijing city. Lu Li's spirits were lifted when he heard the news from Chuan Pu. With the Asmodean lord taking action, Lu Li would have a chance to kill the dragon demon. If the Asmodean lord did not leave and the Asmodean lord worked together with the dragon demon, Lu Li would not have the slightest confidence. As a matter of fact, Lu Li was not confident that he could defeat the dragon demon by himself. He had learned a big diagram, but his abilities had not improved. It was not that the big diagram was useless. It was just that he could not integrate the 15 small diagrams perfectly. Without integration, it would not be a big diagram, but just 15 small diagrams. 5 days. I have 5 days left. I must find a way to integrate them. Lu Li murmured and went back into the wicked bead. He told Yi Cha and the others to move forward and hide outside the Beijing city. He would come out in 5 days. How is it out there? Bai Qiushu asked as soon as Lu Li came in. Luli gave her an explanation and then went back to cultivation. He was pressed for time. Every second counted. He had learned all the 15 small diagrams, and they were all engraved into his bead of life. He had poured divine energy into each diagram. He was able to fuse the first 14 diagrams, but he was unable to fuse the last one. He felt there was a crack, and he was so close. This was a headache for Luli. He could not force the diagrams to fit together, could he? It was like when 15 pieces of a jigsaw puzzle could be put together perfectly. But when the pieces were taken down and put back together, there would always be one piece that could not be put back together. Luli was speechless. He did not know what to do. Time moved on. 5 days passed by quickly. Luli had come up with hundreds of ways, but he still could not integrate the diagrams. He opened his eyes helplessly. Alas, he heaved a heavy sigh. Jiang Qiling and Bai Qiuxue asked him with concern. Luli forced a smile, but said nothing. He only said that he had run into some problems in cultivation and he had to go out and take a look. He teleported out from the wicked bead. Yi Cha and the others were hiding in a mountain outside the Beijing city. Luli asked Chuan Pu, "What is going on in the city? Has the Asmodean Lord gone out?" "I don't know. I haven't heard anything." Chuan Pu shook his head. Luli frowned and said, "Go into the city and have a look. Keep a low profile and don't let anyone see you." Yi Cha would be in danger if he went into the city. After all, there were many powerful warriors in the city, and Yi Cha was not an Asmodean. Chuan Pu was gone for 6 hours. When he came back, he reported with excitement, "Lord, the Asmodean Lord has gone to the Du Bian city. He has been gone for an hour." Many people in the city saw him teleporting away. Okay, Luli was relieved that the Asmodean Lord was gone. He thought for a while and said, "Go back to the city and take the Jade Talisman with you. When the Asmodean Lord comes back, crush the Jade Talisman at once. I will go and kill the Dragon Demon." Even though the line diagram was not integrated yet, Luli did not have time to worry about it now. This was a rare opportunity. He had more than a dozen Earth Immortal Realm warriors with him. How could they not kill a demonic beast? Yes, Chuan Pu was excited. After the Dragon Demon was killed, it would be the Asmodean Lord's turn. Luli could not rule the entire Asmodean race. He needed a spokesperson. By then, the new Asmodean Lord would either be Lu Li or his father. At least, the Chuan family could grow. Let's go. Chapter 880. An army of 100,000 was stationed in the mountain near the altar all year round. They were the Asmodean Lord's army. Anyone that dared to come close, including a master, would be attacked. Lu Li and Yi Cha sneaked out of the mountain. From the distance, they could see the dark clouds and the cold air. It made them shiver as if they had fallen into an ice cellar. This was not an average cold air. It was cold and gloomy. But the coldness was not what mattered. What mattered was that they could hear a strange roar from the distance. Hoot! Hoot! The roar was like that of an elephant or a child crying at night. It was not loud, but it was intermittent. It was enough to make people shiver and uncomfortable. Yi Cha, patrol outside. Alert me if anything happens. Luli took a look and decided to take action. Yi Cha nodded and snuck away. Luli used psychic power to check the wicked bead. He told the 10 patriarchs and the 5 Earth Immortal Realm soul slaves to be ready at any time. "Okay, let's go," Luli yelled. He flew up to the sky like a mad dragon. His bead of life came out and the feather wind castle came into being. He did not rush and rashly. Instead, he kept on gathering feather wind. He could do it fast. In the time for a dozen breaths, the feather wind castle was filled with feather wind. Whoosh! Whoosh, whoosh, many warriors in the mountain were alarmed. Groups of black-armored warriors flew up, and many powerful warriors checked Lu Li with psychic power. A human. It is Lu Li, the human emperor Lu Li. How did Lu Li get in? How can he be at the altar? Inform the Asmodean Lord now. Some of the Asmodeans recognized Lu Li. When the news spread out, many Asmodeans were shocked. They were in a dilemma, terrified. Charge! Lu Li flew the feather wind castle into the altar. Dozens of dragons of wind whooshed out and enveloped nearly 10,000 Asmodeans. Like moths engulfed in flames, the soldiers fell to the ground in droves. The average Asmodeans were not powerful. Even the most elite Asmodeans had warriors of the noble lord realm at best. How could they resist the feather wind? The devils that fell down did not die. Many of them just fainted. That being said, Luli was not in the mood to kill the average Asmodeans. He flew the feather wind castle to the center of the altar where there was a dark cloud. That was where the dragon demon's strange cries were coming from. Luli wanted to kill the dragon demon. This was his most important goal. It didn't matter if he didn't kill a single one of the other devil soldiers. His goal was very clear, and the experts of the fiend race were also aware of his goal. He wants to kill the holy beast. Quickly stop him. The sacred beast is the great demon god's treasure. Even if we all die, we must protect the sacred beast. Everyone rush forward. The great demonic god will be back soon. We have to hold him off for a while. Charge, charge, many powerful Asmodeans bellowed. If Luli could kill the dragon demon, then the Asmodean lord's efforts would be in vain. When the Asmodean lord came back, they would all die. Since they were going to die anyway, they might as well be killed by Luli now. In this way, they could try their best to save the sacred beasts. Groups of human sovereign realm Asmodeans and earth immortal realm warriors dashed toward Luli in a frenzy. All kinds of attacks were launched at Luli. The sky was filled with dark glares. More Asmodeans were trying to break into the feather wind castle through space. However, even though Luli's feather wind castle had not transformed yet, it had made significant progress. The feather wind castle was about to materialize. Even if those Asmodeans blasted at the walls outside the castle, Luli could mend them in an instant. As for the Asmodeans that dashed in, they were all struck by soul attacks. They were smashed to the ground like burnt flies. It was quite a spectacular scene. Those who stand in my way will die. Luli bellowed. Those human sovereign realm Asmodeans and earth immortal realm warriors that fell to the ground would come up again soon. They were like flies and mosquitoes. Luli could not stop for even one moment, or the feather wind castle would be destroyed. Luli was enraged. The wicked bee glowed as 10 patriarchs and 5 earth immortal realm warriors came to him. He dispersed the feather wind around him so that the 15 would not be affected. Kill them. Pointing to the powerful Asmodeans, Luli ordered. At the same time, he tried his best to control the feather wind castle so that it would not be blocked. Although the workload was much greater this way, the lethality was suddenly very considerable. Boom, boom, boom. The 15 Earth Immortal Realm warriors attacked with no scruples. Many powerful Asmodeans were enveloped by the dragons of wind. Defenseless, they were killed in an instant. Let's go. Many powerful Asmodeans nearby were either killed or wounded. Luli could not afford to waste any more time. If the Asmodean Lord came back, things would become tricky. He flew the feather wind castle toward the center of the altar. The strange noise was getting louder. Luli used psychic power to check, but could not see into the dark clouds. There seemed to be a strong formation in the dark clouds that could isolate psychic power. Break the altar, Luli bellowed. The 15 Earth Immortal Realm warriors poured out their attacks at the altar in a frenzy. There were many formation stones on the ground. After a while, the formation was destroyed. The dark clouds dispersed. Finally, Luli and the others were able to locate the dragon demon with psychic power. Hiss, hiss, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. A gigantic beast the size of a mountain was occupying the altar in the distance. The beast was over 1,000 feet long. It was like a mountain. Compared to the beast, humans were like mosquitoes. The size of the beast was overwhelming. The beast was covered with blood-red scales and fur. It had a pair of wings on its back. Its head was like that of a lion with a blood-red horn on its head. Its eyes were golden in color, glowing with coldness and cruelty. The beast did not look ferocious or horrifying. It was different from what Luli and the others had imagined. That being said, the beast gave Luli a horrifying feeling. Everything else aside, the chi and blood coming from the beast was suffocating, not to mention other aspects. The chi and blood of the beast were not like those of the Xian beasts of the Great Land, which were suffocating. The chi and blood of the beast were spooky. It was as if the beast came from the underworld and had the power of the god of death that could reap souls and take their lives. The Asmodean Lord is heartless. The monster's body was littered with broken limbs and bones. The severed limbs were very small, and so were the skeletons. These were obviously the skeletons of young children. The eastern land of oceans had sent over 200,000 young boys and girls. They must have been eaten by the dragon demon. The dragon demon had only eaten 200,000 young boys and girls, and it was already so big. How big would the dragon demon be after eating 490,000 young boys and girls? Lu Li and the others felt they could not defeat the dragon demon's chi and blood at the moment. When the dragon demon evolved to the peak, it might have the power of an immortal. Charge! Lu Li yelled. He knew the dragon demon was hard to kill, but this was his only chance. He shouted, "We must kill the dragon demon in an hour, or we will be in big trouble." Chapter 881. Dragons of Wind. Lu Li yelled. The dozens of dragons of wind that he had prepared whooshed out and enveloped the huge beast. The other Earth, immortal realm warriors were ready to attack. Swish! The dozens of dragons of wind were dancing in the sky. It was a spectacular scene. The Asmodeans nearby were terrified. Many of them had experienced the power of dragons of wind. If the dragon demon could not stand it, it would be killed. Whether it was humans, Asmodeans, Xian beasts, or monsters, the soul was the most important. Once the soul was under attack, the defense of the warrior or the monster would be weakened. Just think about it. How big was the difference between active defense and no defense at all, relying on one's physical body to resist? However, to the surprise of the Asmodeans and Lu Li, dozens of dragons of wind whooshed out and enveloped the dragon demon. However, the dragon demon only shook its head but did not react. The dragon demon was confused, wondering what Lu Li was doing with the gale. What is going on? Lu Li and the other Earth, immortal realm warriors looked at each other in astonishment. The soul attack contained in the feather wind was strong. Did the dragon demon not have a soul? That was not right. How could such a powerful beast not have a soul? The more powerful a beast was, the more intelligent it would be. Lu Li and the others were dumbfounded. They did not know what to do. Among them, Lu Li's feather wind attack was the strongest. Even the Asmodean Lord could be affected. According to the original plan, the dragon demon could only be killed when the feather wind was under attack. But the feather wind was useless. Could they kill the horrifying dragon demon by working together? I don't believe it. Once again, Lu Li generated dozens of dragons of wind. The dozens of dragons of wind merged together in midair and formed a huge dragon that whooshed toward the dragon demon. Hoot hoot! The dragon demon was not frightened to see a huge dragon coming. The dragon demon merely flapped its wings. A glint of confusion rose in its golden eyes. Swish! The huge dragon whooshed over and enveloped the dragon demon. Back in the days, even the Asmodean Lord could not stand this dragon. The soul attack inside was horrifying. Still, the dragon demon showed no reaction. This time, even Lu Li was panicking. Was the dragon demon so strong that it was not afraid of any soul attacks? There's no other way. Attack! Lu Li waved his hand. Almost at the same time, everyone released their most powerful attacks. Lu Li used the Rising Dragon skill, and the others used their most powerful Profound Meanings or Bloodline attacks. Chi! Chi! In midair, a huge golden claw appeared. Apart from Feather Wind, Lu Li's strongest attack was his Bloodline skill, Blood Claw. The Jun family's ninth elder unleashed a giant black skeletal hand. Elder Lei unleashed a bolt of the ninth heaven's thunder, and Elder Gu unleashed a tornado drill. Boom, boom, boom. A group of earth and immortals unleashed their strongest attacks, and it was a terrifying sight to behold. It was as though a mirror had been shattered and countless spatial cracks spread out in every direction. The destructive aura filled the surroundings. making those demon soldiers vaguely feel that doomsday was coming. Hoot, hoot. This time, the dragon demon sensed the danger. It had been lying still on the ground. All of a sudden, the dragon demon stood up. Its fur began to sway rhythmically. The dragon demon's fur glowed red, as if it was covered by a layer of blood armor. Boom, 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 boom. Horrifying noises of explosion were heard. The aftermath of the explosions stirred up a cloud of dust that blocked the sight of the Asmodeans. Amidst the dust, the dragon demon bellowed in rage. The Asmodeans' eardrums were bleeding and their heads were buzzing. For a moment, they lost their hearing. Retreat. A commander of the devil race roared. He knew that the explosion would create a powerful shockwave that would kill many soldiers. Therefore, he shouted at his subordinates. But at this moment, those soldiers couldn't hear his voice at all. They all stood there in a daze. Very soon, they were all sent flying by the violent shockwave. Some of the weaker devils were killed by the shockwave. Hoot hoot! The dragon demon's bellows were constantly heard. The sound was harsh to the ears. It was a testament to the dragon demon's anger. Oh no! Lu Li and the others felt their hearts were weighed down by the bellow. They checked with psychic power and found it hard to believe. More than a dozen Earth Immortal Realm warriors and Lu Li launched the most powerful attack, but the dragon demon did not suffer much damage. It did not even lose much of its fur. However, there was blood seeping out from many spots on the dragon demon's skin. The pungent smell of blood was nauseating. Hoot, hoot, hoot! The dragon demon raised its head and bellowed. Then, the red horn on its head glowed. A ray of blood-red light enveloped an area with a radius of 1,000 feet. Back off. Spread out. Lu Li yelled. The other Earth Immortal Realm warriors reacted faster. They stepped back to all sides. The red glow made them feel danger. Hoot! Hoot! The dragon demon made a move. It spread its wings, but did not fly over. Instead, the dragon demon dashed forward as fast as a ghost and approached the two Earth Immortal Realm warriors on the left. They were from the Demon Slaying Hall. Buzzing, the dragon demon's horn glowed red and enveloped the two Earth Immortal Realm soul slaves of the Demon Slaying Hall. What happened next terrified Lu Li and the others. The two Earth Immortal Realm soul slaves were running away. However, as if they were haunted by ghosts, they were frozen in midair with a red airstream around them. It was as if they were tied up by the red airstream. Not only could they not run away, they could not even attack. Hoot hoot! The dragon demon dashed over, opened its mouth, and swallowed the two patriarchs. The dragon demon chewed twice, and the two Earth Immortal Realm patriarchs turned into minced meat. Poof! The dragon demon seemed to think the two patriarchs' flesh was not tasty enough. The dragon demon spat them out. The dragon demon stared at Lu Li with its cold golden eyes, as if it was saying, Lu Li was younger and his flesh was tastier. Run, run to the south. Lu Li saw a ray of red light rushing over. He hesitated no longer. He gave up on the idea of killing the dragon demon. He took out the wicked bead at once and dashed into it. Whoosh! The wicked bead dashed over in a ray of cyan light. Soon, it caught up with the Earth Immortal Realm soul slaves and took them in. The dragon demon had been keeping an eye on Lu Li. A glint of confusion rose in the dragon demon's eyes as Lu Li disappeared. The dragon demon stood still on the spot. Lu Li took in more Earth Immortal Realm soul slaves. The dragon demon was in a daze again. The dragon demon did not seem to have a high level of intelligence. It could not figure out why it could not sense the presence of humans. Lu Li finally put his mind at ease when everyone was taken in. That being said, he was filled with guilt. He should have taken everyone in at once. The two patriarchs wouldn't have to die. Back then, he had fantasized about killing the dragon demon. How ridiculous it was now. Give up. Chapter 882. It had only been the time for one incense stick to burn since the fight began. Theoretically speaking, the Asmodean Lord should not be back so soon. It would take time to teleport to the Du Bien city and time for the Asmodean Lord to receive the message and teleport back. The round trip would take at least an hour. Think of something and try again. Luli noticed that the dragon demon was looking around in confusion. The dragon demon seemed to have low intelligence. Luli had an idea. Even if he could not kill the dragon demon, he must find a way to enrage it and make it attack the Asmodeans. In this way, he could create panic and instill fear in the Asmodeans. In this way, many would stop feeding the dragon demon. Whoosh! Luli flew the wicked bead over and smashed at the Asmodeans. Due to the high speed, several human sovereign realm Asmodeans could not dodge. They were smashed away and smashed into the dragon demon. Hoot! Hoot! The dragon demon glanced over. Though the human sovereign realm Asmodeans did not inflict any harm, the dragon demon still smashed several human sovereign realm Asmodeans to death. Little White. Luli flew the wicked bead over to the Asmodeans from behind. Seeing that the dragon demon did not react, Luli had another idea. He shouted to Little White, "Go out and bite it." But something is wrong. Come back now. Squeak, squeak. Little White raised its head proudly. Luli teleported it out, and Little White bit at the dragon demon's rump. Hoot, hoot. Little White's teeth were so sharp that it bit off a piece of the dragon demon's flesh. Feeling the pain, the dragon demon bellowed in rage. The horn on its head glowed red. A red airstream came out from Little White. The dragon demon stopped moving. Oh no! Luli flew the wicked bead over at once. The wicked bead glowed. Little White paused in the air for a moment before it was taken back. Okay, Luli felt relieved. If Little White was killed, he would live in regret for the rest of his life. The dragon demon was surprised to see that Little White had disappeared. It seemed to be wondering where Little White had gone. How come it could not sense Little White's presence? Little White, are you okay? Luli held Little White in his arms. The airstream around Little White was thinning out. A moment later, Little White opened its eyes and screamed in excitement. Eh. Luli blinked in surprise and asked with uncertainty, "You still want to go out? Can you absorb this red gas?" Bam, bam. Little White nodded happily. Luli was cheered up. The wicked bead could take back Little White and keep attacking. At this rate, the dragon demon might be wounded. Shio! The wicked bead flew to the back of the dragon demon. Little White came out and bit at the dragon demon's thigh. In the time for one breath, Little White had bitten off a human-sized piece of flesh. Hoot, hoot! The dragon demon was enraged. The horn on its head glowed again. Little White was enveloped in a red glow, and a red airstream came out. Luli took Little White back in time. The dragon demon did not have a high level of intelligence. The dragon demon suddenly turned around and stared at the wicked bead with its golden eyes. The dragon demon ignored the wicked bead and looked around. Clearly, it was searching for Little White. It seems that the dragon demon has just been born. Its intelligence is low. Or, the dragon demon is a beast with low intelligence to begin with. Luli flew the wicked bead over. Little White came out again, biting at the wounded thigh. Hoot, hoot! Little White came out for the 9th time. Half of the dragon demon's thigh had been bitten off. The wrath in the dragon demon's eyes grew stronger. Since the dragon demon could not find Little White, it had to run around in rage. The Asmodeans around it suffered. They were crushed to death. There were many buildings around the altar which were leveled to the ground. This time, Luli did not let Little White bite the dragon demon. He noticed that the dragon demon's wound was healing at a speed visible to the naked eye. It seemed that not even Little White could inflict serious damage to the dragon demon. I will have to lure the dragon demon to the Beijing city. Luli sighed. He flew the wicked bead toward the Beijing city and let Little White out. As soon as Little White came out, it began to provoke the dragon demon. Hearing Little White's voice, the dragon demon dashed over in anger. Buzzing. The wicked bead glowed constantly. Little White was let out and put back in again and again. The dragon demon would stop for a while and then dash off the altar. No, Luli is luring the holy beast to the Beijing city. Go to the Beijing city and report. Hurry, hurry. Many Asmodeans shouted. The Beijing city was home to many Asmodeans, and they were all nobles of the Asmodean race. The Beijing city was where generations of Asmodean lords resided. Only nobles of the Asmodean race were allowed to live here. If so many nobles were killed by the dragon demon, the Asmodeans would suffer a great loss. Unfortunately, even though the Asmodeans reacted fast, the dragon demon and Luli were faster. In the time for half an incense stick to burn, Luli had Little White to lure the dragon demon to the Beijing city. The Beijing city was large as the city of mystic armor. The city was old and majestic. The city wall alone was more than 1,000 feet high. But compared to the size of the dragon demon, the city wall was much smaller. Boom! The dragon demon was on a rampage. The city wall was smashed into pieces and several castles in the city collapsed. The dragon demon lifted its leg and stomped down. Every time it stomped, a castle would be smashed to pieces. Hoot! Hoot! There were many children of noble Asmodeans in the city. The dragon demon swallowed them at once. After eating several Asmodean children, the dragon demon could no longer stop itself. It stopped chasing after Little White and went around looking for Asmodean children to eat. Boom, boom, boom. The dragon demon, which was over 1,000 feet tall, stood out like a crane among chickens. Every time the dragon demon lifted its leg, a castle would be crushed. The dragon demon dashed around, trampling over many castles. With a sweep of its tail, more castles would be leveled to the ground. Some nobles of the Asmodeans did not know what was going on. They thought the dragon demon was going on a rampage. They mobilized powerful warriors to attack the dragon demon, which further enraged the dragon demon. The Asmodeans bellowed. The dragon demon glared in red and swung its tail. Many Asmodeans were smashed away. The Beijing city had turned into hell. Luli looked on coldly from the wicked bead. He did not feel anything. He did not feel sorry for so many Asmodean children being devoured. Those who were not of the Asmodeans race must have different intentions. The Asmodeans and humans were mortal enemies, irreconcilable hatred. The Asmodeans were always thinking about destroying the human race, killing them, enslaving them, torturing them. Those Asmodean children were not guilty. That being said, when they grew up, they would be like the other Asmodeans. They would kill every human they saw. They would be cruel and would love to eat human flesh. It was like a group of tiger cubs. At the moment, they might seem harmless and cute, but when they grew up, they would become ferocious beasts that would kill anyone they saw. To Luli, the Asmodeans were no different from tigers. Would Luli feel anything when an Asmodean charged into a group of tigers, killed many, and ate many tiger cubs? Buzzing, an hour later, the Beijing city had turned into hell. In the distance, a castle glowed. Finally, the Asmodean lord had come back. Luli knew it was time. He could not stay and watch anymore. Otherwise, under the control of the Asmodean lord, the dragon demon would attack the wicked bead. Let's go. Chapter 883. Luli, I'm going to kill you, A furious roar was heard in the white capital. The roar was filled with rage, hatred, and grievance. As a matter of fact, the Asmodean lord had noticed something was wrong as soon as he arrived at the Dubian city. He could tell that Chuan Jing and Watanabe were under someone's control and that there was a human warrior's soul energy in their souls. He showed no mercy. He killed Chuan Jing and Watanabe in an instant, which shocked the other leaders. When the powerful Asmodeans sent a message, the Asmodean lord teleported back at once. However, it would take some time. By the time he came back, the Beijing city had turned into hell. The Asmodean lord's family had dominated the eastern land of oceans for more than 100,000 years. During that time, the Asmodean lord's family had grown into a powerful force. Over half of the nobles in the Beijing city were related to the Asmodean lord. Now, the Beijing city had turned into hell. Over half of the Asmodeans were killed by the dragon demon, and many children were eaten by the dragon demon, including many of the Asmodean lord's offspring. Under the Asmodean lord's guidance, the dragon demon had been well behaved. It never came out from the altar, not to mention hurting the innocent. But now, The dragon demon had come to the Beijing city for no reason and killed more than half of the Asmodean Lord's family. More than half of the Asmodean Lord's offspring had died. Some of his beloved great-grandchildren had become food for the dragon demon. Luckily, the Asmodean Lord came back in time. Otherwise, in an hour, not a single Asmodean would be left in the Beijing city. They would all be killed by the furious dragon demon. Go back, the Asmodean Lord bellowed. Some mysterious runes appeared in his eyes, and a surge of ferocious energy emerged. The dragon demon turned into a docile kitten and dashed toward the altar. Soon, the dragon demon settled down on the altar. Here is my order, the Asmodean Lord bellowed. Send my order. The human emperor, Lu Li, has snuck into the eastern land of oceans. Tell all the Asmodeans to stay alert and search for Lu Li. Also, tell the Asmodean army to seal off all the entrances to the demon-slaying battleground. Lu Li, if you dare to come to the eastern land of oceans, I will not let you go back. The human emperor, Lu Li? The Beijing city was in an uproar. Many people didn't know that Lu Li was here, and they were terrified when they heard the news. The Mother * King Human Emperor had infiltrated the eastern land of oceans. This young human king was a peerless genius. Even the great demon god was no match for him. Tell all the Asmodeans that the dragon demon is a sacred beast summoned by me. After some time, I will lead the Asmodeans to breach the demon-slaying city and occupy the great land. Also, tell the world that I am not afraid of Lu Li. Tell him to come and fight me if he has the guts. I will use the originator artifact to kill him. Also, those rumors were spread by Chuan Jing and Watanabe under Lu Li's control. I have killed those two scum. If anyone else dares to spread rumors, I will kill them. Tell the manor heads to control their subordinates. Kill anyone who dares to cause trouble. I'll give them another 1.5 months. If they can't complete the task by then, the manor heads will kill them all. Escort army, search for Lu Li. Orders were passed down. The Asmodean Lord didn't care about the rumors and mobs at first. Now that he knew Lu Li was up to something, he had to pay more attention. This time, he almost caused a disaster. He would not allow something like this to happen again. The dragon demon was his hope to revive the Asmodeans. He could not allow it to die. It's okay, it's okay. The dragon demon survived Lu Li's sneak attack. The Asmodean Lord was emboldened to learn that the feather wind could not affect the dragon demon. The only thing Lu Li could rely on was the feather wind. Since he could not kill the dragon demon this time, he would not have another chance in the future. When the dragon demon grew up, it would be the end of the human race. 3 months. In 3 months at most, the dragon demon will be mature. By then, the dragon demon will be as powerful as an immortal. Not even the Emperor of Heaven Reverse could stop the dragon demon, let alone Lu Li. I, the Asmodean Lord, will rule the Heaven Reverse universe. The Asmodean Lord's blood-red eyes were glowing. He grinned a wicked smile, which sent chills down the Asmodean spines. We are in big trouble. Lu Li was hiding in a super mountain hundreds of thousands of miles to the east of the Beijing city in the Wicked Bead. He did not go out rashly. He sat in the Wicked Bead, which floated in a cave that was 2 miles underground. In addition to Lu Li, Patriarch Lei and Uncle Nine of the Jun family were frowning as well. Bai Qiuxue and Jiang Qiling were sitting on the side. Their faces were clouded with worry. They could not kill the dragon demon, which meant that none of the human race could defeat the dragon demon. Not even Lu Renhuang and Patriarch of Law Enforcement could help. What was more, the dragon demon was still growing. After this incident, the Asmodean Lord would find a way to capture young boys and girls to feed the dragon demon. In a few months, the dragon demon would grow to a horrifying level. By then, not even dozens of semi-god realm warriors from the 9 universes could save the dragon demon. It was said that the dragon demon was summoned from the region of doom. What kind of place was the region of doom? Lu Li did not know. But to be able to breed such a horrifying monster, it must be something like the divinity. In other words, the dragon demon was like an immortal. Mortals could not fight against such a monster. Once the dragon demon was powerful enough, it would be the end of the Great Land. I have to figure something out. Luli forced himself to calm down. The more anxious he was, the worse the situation would be. Only by staying calm could he find a way out. I cannot kill the dragon demon for now. Then, I will have to find a way to kill the Asmodean Lord. Luli thought about it, and came up with a solution that was not really a solution. Only the Asmodean Lord could control the dragon demon. What was more, the dragon demon was not intelligent. As long as no one provoked it, it would not attack. Therefore, as long as the Asmodean Lord could be killed, the dragon demon would not pose too much of a threat in the short term. The problem was how to kill the Asmodean Lord. The Asmodean Lord had the spatial transference profound meaning. If Luli could not kill the Asmodean Lord in an instant, there was no other way. I'm not strong enough. Luli shook his head. His Featherwind Castle had made some progress, but it was not much stronger. Judging from the last time he fought the Asmodean Lord, he could not kill the Asmodean Lord. Cultivate. Luli made up his mind. He must cultivate for a month. He must integrate the last diagram and see if the Featherwind Castle could improve by leaps and bounds. If not, then he did not know what to do. 1 month. I hope the dragon demon will not grow too fast. Luli prayed to himself. According to his speculation, the Asmodeans of the eastern land of oceans would put up some resistance since the dragon demon had killed so many people in the Beijing city and eaten so many Asmodean children. Would the Asmodeans of the eastern land of oceans offer young boys and girls? At the very least, the Asmodeans would try to buy some time. In this way, the dragon demon's growth would slow down. 1 month should not be a problem. What Luli did not know was that the Asmodean Lord had given his order. At the moment, children were being sent to the Beijing city from the eastern land of oceans. The dragon demon was growing at a horrifying speed. P.S. Monday, send me some recommendation tickets. I still owe you some chapters. Remember, I will make them up. I have a lot to do today. Chapter 884. How can I integrate the line diagram? That was a problem that had been bothering Luli recently. He had been cultivating in the wicked bead every day. Apart from cultivating Xian energy and taking control of the wicked bead, he spent the rest of his time thinking about this problem. He was trying to figure out a way to integrate the last diagram. Unfortunately, the line diagram was not a jigsaw puzzle that could not be put together by force. This was what confused Luli. The 15 small diagrams were learned from one big diagram. In other words, they were separated from the big diagram. The first 14 diagrams could be integrated easily, but the last one could not be integrated. Time flew by when he was in closed-door cultivation. In the blink of an eye, more than 10 days had passed. Still, Luli had gained nothing, which made him more and more anxious. When people were impatient, they would not be able to calm down. They would not be able to think of a solution, which was a vicious cycle. This was unavoidable. Not even a saint could do this. 5 days later, Luli opened his eyes. He knew that he would not be able to learn anything at this rate. On the contrary, he would develop mental barriers and he would be doomed. He planned to rest for a few days and take a walk around. Maybe by chance he could be inspired and solve his current problem. Luli looked at Bai Qiuxue and Jiang Qiling in the inner hall. They were cultivating. He did not wake them up. He planned to go out and have a walk by himself. What? All of a sudden, Luli noticed that Bai Qiuxue's breaths were faster. Even so, Luli noticed it. However, Bai Qiuxue did not open her eyes. It seemed that she was still cultivating. Luli's heart warmed up. He put on a smile. Bai Qiuxue was not cultivating. She was just pretending to be. Luli could tell what she was trying to do. Bai Qiuxue was afraid that she could not hide her worries. That was why she pretended to be cultivating so that Luli would not be pressured. For the sake of my 3 lovely wives, I must learn the line diagram. I must kill the Asmodean Lord and protect the Great Land. Luli swore to himself. He was determined. His body flashed and appeared outside. Just like that, he walked alone in the cave and headed out. He did not use any dark force and only relied on his physical body to walk. The aura in his body was completely restrained, and he walked slowly like an ordinary person. Outside the cave was a stretch of mountains with numerous ravines. There were many Xian beasts here, but they were all suppressed by the qi and energy of Lu Li and the others, so they didn't dare to come closer. Whoosh! Lu Li leaped up to the peak of a mountain and gazed into the distance from there. The wind on the peak was strong, making Lu Li's hair and robe flutter. Lu Li looked around blankly, frowning. Clearly, he was still thinking about how to integrate the line map. Let's walk around. Lu Li stood there for a moment and then flew down to another mountain. This time, he didn't fly. Instead, he walked into the mountains step by step. There were rolling mountains nearby. Lu Li ran into many Xian beasts along the way. However, as soon as he revealed his qi and energy, those Xian beasts all ran away in fear. Hillsides, canyons, ravines, valleys, rivers, abysses, Lu Li wandered around in the mountains for 3 to 4 days. He had explored more than half of the mountains nearby. The Xian beasts were chased away by him all over the mountains. On the 6th day, Lu Li arrived at a ridge. There was a huge rock that stretched all the way to the peak. When he saw the dragon-shaped rock, he suddenly had an idea. This rock looks like a jigsaw puzzle. The rock was full of cracks. Lu Li did not know how the cracks came into being, and the rock was divided into dozens of pieces. But from a distance, the rock seemed to be a hole, stretching to the peak like a huge dragon. This was similar to Lu Li's line map. Lu Li was inspired. He stood on a rock on the ridge and studied it for 2 hours. Then he dashed to the peak. There were several trees on the peak. Lu Li generated a ray of sword energy and hacked at the trees. He cut off a small piece of wood from the tree. Then he took out a dagger and divided the wood into 15 pieces, turning it into a jigsaw puzzle. He began to piece the wood together. Since his dagger was sharp, the cuts were neat. It was not difficult for him to put the pieces together. When the pieces were glued together, they felt like a complete piece of wood. Lu Li's eyes were misty. He took the pieces apart and put them back together again and again, over and over again. He was like an idiot who had found his favorite toy. The sun set. The glow of the setting sun dyed half of the sky red. The red light shone on the side of Lu Li's face. There were red dots on his eyebrows, but his starry eyes were filled with confusion. Night came. The wilderness was in darkness. Lu Li was still sitting on the peak, putting the pieces together again and again. Then, he would separate them and put them back together again. It was winter at the eastern land of oceans. There was frost at night. Frost was forming on Lu Li's hair, eyebrows, and face. But he did not mind it. He continued to put the pieces together mechanically. Time moved on. There was a ray of light in the east. It was dawn. For the first time, Lu Li moved his eyes away from the wooden board and looked at the ray of light in the east. There was still frost on his eyebrows, but his eyes were glaring as if there was a ball of fire dancing in them. Jigsaw puzzle? No, this is not a jigsaw puzzle. I have been treating the line diagram as a jigsaw puzzle. I have to put them together one by one. I was wrong, very wrong. The line diagram is not a picture. It is a profound meaning. It is the truth of heaven and earth, the law of heaven and earth. How can I put together? I have always thought that the line diagram is just a picture. I was wrong. It is not a picture. It is the derivation of the truth of heaven and earth, or the essence of the law of heaven and earth. This is the line diagram. It is the source of profound meanings, the essence of profound meanings. It is something more powerful than profound meanings. All profound meanings have a line diagram. It is just that warriors do not know about it. Low-level profound meanings can evolve into high-level profound meanings because the line diagram has become complicated and abstruse after expansion. For example, Ming Yu's force only had one small picture, but his space-sealing profound meaning had 4 or 5 pictures. He did not know about the existence of the line diagram. He just learned it by chance. The line diagram is a treasure. As long as I can figure out the line diagram of profound meanings, I can expand the line diagram and evolve the profound meanings. From a 3rd rank to the 4th, to the 7th, to the 9th rank. I get it. I finally get it. Ha, ha, ha. Lu Li laughed like a lunatic on the peak. His laughter shook heaven and earth, echoing in an area with a radius of 30 miles. But he had no worries. This was because he was 100% confident that he would be able to fuse with the great sky diagram of the lines. Closed door cultivation. Louis did not go back to the wicked bead. He sat with his legs crossed on the peak to cultivate. Now that he had understood it, the rest was easy. He had learned the 15 small pictures. It would not take him long to integrate them. Chapter 885. As a matter of fact, Luli did not know what the line diagram represented. If the crippled Zen master and Yin Xingxi were here, they would be able to help him. The line diagram was actually an origin true meaning. It was an existence that surpassed profound meanings. To be able to learn the origin fundamental principle meant that a new door had been opened, a path to the heavens. Of course, it was not because Luli was talented that he could learn the origin fundamental principle so easily. It was just because he was blessed with luck. It was all thanks to Emperor Hung that he could learn the origin fundamental principle. Luli learned the line diagram from the feather wind in the forbidden ground of Elder God. After all, it was left behind by Emperor Hung. Luli only received the teachings and legacy of Emperor Hung. As for why Emperor Hung chose Luli, not even the crippled Zen master knew. What is that? Dozens of miles away from Luli, a team of Asmodeans was moving forward. Luli's laughter alarmed them. It was a team of scouts. The Asmodean lord had ordered a search for Luli all over the world. The eastern land of oceans was filled with scouts. It was not surprising that there were scouts in the mountains. As a matter of fact, Luli had run into scouts a couple of days ago, but he dodged them easily. Let's go. The leader of the scouts was at the peak of the noble lord realm. He waved his hand, and the scouts snuck toward Luli. Humans. It is the human emperor, Luli. Soon, the scouts found Luli. Since Luli didn't even try to hide himself, the scouts found him after a quick check. Fall back. Even though Luli was cultivating at the peak, the leader of the scouts did not dare to act rashly. Luli was the human emperor, a being that could defeat the Asmodean lord. It would be pointless for them to go against him. The leader of the scouts and the Asmodeans retreated for dozens of miles. He crushed a jade talisman to inform other powerful warriors nearby that Luli had been spotted. After the news spread, the nearby prefectures were in an uproar. When the chief learned that Luli was cultivating at the peak of a mountain, he came with more than half of his powerful warriors at once. At the same time, he sent someone to inform the Asmodean lord. After several rounds of teleportation, Zhuo Tengying arrived. He was absolutely loyal to the great demonic god. Even if he wasn't loyal to the great demonic god, he wouldn't hesitate in the face of the mother of asterisk king, human king. After all, the human race was the mortal enemy of the devil race. Zhuo Tengying did not bring too many soldiers with him. He only brought over 100 warriors, one of whom was an Earth Immortal Realm warrior, and the rest were human Sovereign Realm warriors. Moreover, there were also 5 elite ninja squads, and their assassination skills were the best in the world. According to the scouts, Luli was in closed-door cultivation. How could Zhuo Tengying miss such a good chance? If he could assassinate Luli, he would become a hero of the Asmodeans, and his name would go down in history. Let's go. We must kill them in one strike. I'm counting on you all. Arriving at the edge of the mountain range, Zhuo Tengying waved his hand. He did not strike out personally. After all, this was the mother of asterisk king, human king. If over 100 Asmodeans could not kill Luli, one more wouldn't make a difference. Over 100 powerful warriors went into the cracks in space and snuck toward Luli. When they got close to Luli, the more than 100 warriors spread out, ready to launch a surprise attack on Luli from all directions. Zhuo Tengying had sneaked over, but he was only 6 miles away from Luli. He hid on top of a mountain and kept an eye on Luli. Okay. He could tell that Luli had been in closed-door cultivation. His warriors had surrounded Luli, and they were approaching. Zhuo Tengying was cheered up. It seemed that Luli was trying to break through to the next realm. There was no fluctuation in his chi and blood. It seemed that he didn't notice any Asmodeans approaching. If the nearly 100 Asmodeans were to get close and launch a surprise attack together, Luli would die, for sure, unless he had a relic armor. 2 miles, 1 mile, 1,000 feet. Still, Luli didn't do anything. Zhuotengying's face was twisted with excitement. A historic moment was coming, and it was Zhuotengying who was making history. How could he not be excited? 500 feet. An Asmodean Earth Immortal Realm warrior snuck out from crack in space and shouted, "Charge!" Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Space was torn apart as one powerful Asmodean after another rushed out. Over 100 black swords were stabbed at Luli at the same time. The surging sword chi froze the space around. It was as if the scene had been frozen. That's right, it wasn't a fake freeze, but a real freeze. At that moment, Luli opened his eyes, which were filled with disdain. His bead of life came into being in his abdomen. The bead of life glowed, and the space around him froze. Then, a cyan castle came into being and enveloped all the Asmodeans. Zhuotengying suddenly had a bad feeling. His eyes widened as he looked at the green castle in the distance. His face was filled with shock. Wasn't Lu Li's feather wind castle translucent? How come it had changed so much? How come it looked like a real castle? It was as if there was a castle on the peak of the mountain, floating in midair. Zhuotengying tried to use psychic power to see what was going on inside. However, what happened next shocked him. His psychic power could pierce through the walls of the castle. It was quiet in the castle. Not a sound could be heard. It was as if the over 100 warriors were swallowed up in an instant. They couldn't even make a sound. Should I run or not? Zhuotengying was struggling. He was too close to Luli. Once he was targeted, he might not be able to leave. That being said, Zhuotengying hoped that Luli could not kill all of his warriors. After all, there were 5 teams of elite ninjas. Buzzing, after the time for a dozen breaths, the feather wind castle glowed and vanished into thin air. What happened next shocked Zhuotengying. A figure fell from the sky. All of them had their heads crushed. It was as if they were headless flies that fell to the ground. Not a single one of them survived. Blood was spilled in the air. Under the sunlight, the blood was dyed red. In the time for a dozen breaths, over 100 warriors were killed. How fast was that? Those over 100 warriors were Zhuotengying's most powerful warriors. There was an Earth Immortal Realm warrior among them, and 5 teams of elite ninjas. Yet, all of them died in the time for a dozen breaths. Instant kill. Instant kill without any resistance. Zhuotengying could not think of any other explanation. In that instant, none of the over 100 warriors put up any resistance. Luli crushed their heads one by one. It was as if a strong man was chopping at a flock of sheep with a saber. Too strong, too strong. Run. Without any hesitation, Zhuotengying dashed into the crack in the sky at once and fled into the distance. However, a meteor came and caught up with him in a moment. Then, Luli came out from the wicked bead. A castle appeared in the sky, and Zhuotengying was forced out from the crack in the space. No, that hurts. At this moment, Zhuotengying finally understood why over 100 of his warriors died so quickly and why none of them could escape. In the Feather Wind Castle, space was sealed and there were powerful soul attacks. It was as if billions of golden needles were stabbing at his soul. Zhuotengying felt he had lost control of his body, let alone run away or fight back. Swish! Chapter 886. Not bad, not bad. After Zhuotengying was killed, Luli deactivated the Feather Wind Castle. He stood in midair with pride, delighted. With the integration of the last diagram, his Feather Wind Castle was finally completed. His abilities had improved by leaps and bounds. Now that the Feather Wind Castle was materialized, psychic power could not be used, at least not by Earth Immortal Realm warriors. Luli did not know if Semi-God Realm warriors could do that. Theoretically speaking, it should not be possible. But that was not the point. The key was that the space inside the Feather Wind Castle was sealed. Not even Earth Immortal Realm warriors could go through the space. Not even the Asmodean Lord could. In other words, once the Asmodean Lord was trapped in the Feather Wind Castle, he would not be able to run away. Space was sealed. He could not tear apart space, which meant he could not teleport away. Also, the soul attack seemed to be stronger. Zwa Tinging, a warrior at the later stage of the Earth Immortal realm, could not even hold on for one breath. The line diagram is a high-level, profound meaning. I have learned a big diagram, and I have reached the middle stage of the human sovereign realm. I think I can reach the later stage of the human sovereign realm with one more diagram, and then the Earth Immortal realm. Luli nodded. Both his Xian, energy, and soul had reached the middle stage of the human sovereign realm. All he needed was to learn profound meanings. It was not surprising that his realm had improved after learning a diagram. Buzzing, once again, Luli built the Feather Wind Castle. He was satisfied with it. He took out the wicked bead and dashed in. Grand Master, Young Master, Saint Lord, the patriarchs and Earth Immortal Realm's soul, slaves bowed, and looked at Luli with anticipation. Luli nodded with a smile. I have learned something recently. In a couple of days, I will go and deal with the Asmodean Lord. When the Asmodean Lord is dead, the dragon demon will be uncontrolled. We can take our time to find a way to kill it. Good. Patriarch Lei and the others were overjoyed. Luli was not one to make empty promises. He could not be wrong when he said he was confident. If the Asmodean Lord could be killed, then the dragon demon would be much easier to deal with. Luli ignored them and went into the inner hall alone. Bai Qiuxue and Jiang Qiling were not cultivating. They were sitting together, whispering to each other about girls. They stood up and greeted Luli as soon as he came in. Luli put his arms around the two girls and said with a guilty tone, I have made you worry. Jiang Qiling squinted her eyes and said with a smile, Darling, have you made a breakthrough? Luli nodded. This time, even if there are many at the initial stage of the semi-god realm, I will not be afraid. I have an 80% chance of killing the Asmodean Lord. Both Bai Qiuxue and Jiang Qiling were surprised. The higher the level, the harder it would be for them to improve. It was so difficult to make a huge leap. Luli was only in his 20s, and he could already kill semi-god realm warriors. He was no less talented than Emperor of Heaven Reverse. Autumn Snow's eyes were filled with pride. This was the man she had chosen. He was so outstanding, so powerful. Jiang Qiling thought about it, tilted her head, and said, Darling, do you want to go to the Beijing city right now, or rest for a day or two? You've been cultivating for so long. You must be tired. You should take a rest. Time was tight, so 1 or 2 more days would not make a difference. Luli had been exhausted both physically and mentally. He needed a good rest so that he could return to his peak state. Buzz, Jiang Qiling closed the door at once. Her ring glowed, and a mahogany bed with a pink veil appeared. Sister Ling Yu, Bai Qiuxue blushed. She looked away, afraid to look at Luli. Jiang Qiling's foxy eyes were filled with flirtation and charm. She undressed Luli and said, Darling, thank you for your hard work. I can't help you much. I can only serve you well. Sister Qiuxue, haven't you always wanted children? Maybe you can get pregnant this time. Luli's realm and abilities had improved. He was in a good mood. It had been a long time since he had made love to his wives. He carried Bai Qiuxue in his arms and walked to the bed. Jiang Qiling followed him. She loosened the belt around her waist and took off her robe. She was only wearing a red undergarment, revealing her snow-white legs and shoulders. Seeing that Bai Qiuxue's eyes were closed and she was shy, Jiang Qiling was intrigued. She began to undress Bai Qiuxue with one hand, and her other hand was caressing Bai Qiuxue's breasts. Grunt, grunt. Even though Jiang Qiling was his wife, Luli still felt his blood boiling when he saw Jiang Qiling flirting with Bai Qiuxue. He laughed and lay on the bed. He carried Bai Qiuxue, who had been stripped naked, up and said to Jiang Qiling, Ling come and serve me. Yes, your majesty. Jiang Qiling stuck out her tongue and crawled over like a kitten. Her eyes were filled with sensual desire, extremely seductive. They made love, lingering in every way. Luli fell asleep with the two of them in his arms. He opened his eyes after half a day. His energy was at its peak. He did not get up at once. Instead, he began to think about how to kill the Asmodean Lord. The battlefield could not be the Beijing city. After all, the dragon demon was there. The Asmodean Lord could control the dragon demon to kill Luli. Featherwind was ineffective against the dragon demon. Even if the Featherwind Castle had evolved, the dragon demon would not be lethal. The dragon demon was strong, and it could bind warriors in a strange way. If Luli was trapped by the red airstream, he would have to wait for death, lure the great demon god out of the white capital, and kill him. Luli made up his mind. He took out the map of the eastern land of oceans. The nearby prefectures were good places. It was neither too far nor too close to the white capital, and one could teleport there from a long distance. The dragon demon was gargantuan, even larger than the teleportation formation. It seemed that teleportation could not work. Thus, if he were to start a massacre here, the great demonic god could only send one person to support him. He was not afraid of fighting the great demonic god at all. I'll massacre the Zooting Mansion. If the great demon god doesn't come, I'll massacre everyone in the eastern land of oceans. Let's see if the great demon god can sit still then. Luli had made up his mind. As long as he did not go to the Beijing city, the Asmodean Lord would not be able to use the dragon demon to deal with him. Luli believed that the Asmodean Lord would not stand by and watch him wreak havoc at the eastern land of oceans. All right, let's go. Having made up his mind, Luli stood up and said something to his two wives, telling them to cultivate in there. Jiang Qiling was dissatisfied, but she knew where to draw the line. She didn't make a fuss. All of you, listen up. Luli walked out of the hall and said to the patriarchs, "Later, I will take you with me and kill our way. Do not stay more than 3 miles away from me. Kill all the warriors along the way. Don't kill the old, the weak, the women, the children, and the civilians. Killing them is pointless. Yicha, go to the Zooting City. If the teleportation formation connected to the Beijing city glows, go back and let me know. I will massacre the eastern land of oceans." Okay. Chapter 887. At the Zhua Tingying Prefecture City, the death of Zhua Tingying threw the city into a state of panic. Most of the powerful warriors in the city had gone with Zhua Tingying to kill Luli. Now, all of them were dead. Zhua Tangxiong was Zhua Tingying's younger brother. He was ordered to stay at the Zhua Tingying city. Because of Zhua Tingying's death, Zhua Tangxiong became the new family master of the Zhua Tingying family. But Zhua Tangxiong was not happy. The Zhua Tingying family was in a precarious situation. Almost all the powerful warriors in the family were dead. He was trembling in fear as the family master. It was not only because Luli was in the Zhua Tingying prefecture, but also because the Zhua family had many enemies at the eastern land of oceans. Those enemies would not let the Zhua Tingying family go. Report. A horrified voice came from outside, scaring Zhua Tangxiong, who was sitting inside, to the point that his muscles were trembling. He kicked away the beautiful maidservant who was massaging his feet and stood up. He looked at the scout who had rushed in and asked, "What's the matter, master?" The scout dropped to his knees and said in a sad voice, "There is news from the northern river city. Luli led a group of powerful human warriors to attack the city. All the warriors in the city were killed. Hundreds of thousands died. Luli is flying toward the Dragon Yi city. He left a message. He wants all the cities at the eastern land of oceans to be bathed in blood." What? Zhua Tangxiong's complexion greatly changed. His body was trembling because of fear. His lips trembled as he shouted, "Immediately report this to the great devil god and ask him to come and help. Quickly, quickly, quickly." As soon as the scout left, Zhua Tangxiong shouted again, "Someone send a message to the warriors of the Dragon Yi city. Tell them to evacuate. Spread out and evacuate the cities nearby." Not long after his order was sent out, another scout came in and said, "Report, the Dragon Yi city has fallen. Luli is slaughtering the city with powerful human warriors. Report, Luli is slaughtering at the 8-household city. More than 500,000 people are dead or wounded. Report, the Plains city has fallen. In just over 2 hours, Luli had been sending back messages that he had conquered several cities. He teleported over directly. More than a dozen Earth Immortal Realm warriors took turns to kill. The warriors were so fast that they could kill thousands with one move each. Luli had given the order not to kill civilians. Otherwise, an Earth Immortal Realm warrior could level a city to the ground and kill everyone. Letters asking for help were sent to the white capital like snowflakes, and the news spread across the entire ocean land of the East at a terrifying speed. All the demons were stirred up. The human race was wantonly slaughtering in the cities of the devil race. Moreover, they were slaughtering cities after cities. How insolent and arrogant was this? Not only were the low-level demons enraged and terrified, but the higher-ups of the demon race were also horrified and furious. Luli was only attacking small cities and killing low-level Asmodeans. That being said, low-level warriors were the foundation of the Asmodeans. If too many low-level warriors died, the Devil Clan would suffer a great loss. When those powerful warriors died of old age, there would be a gap in the Devil Clan. Many powerful and high-level Asmodeans gathered in the Beijing city, asking for an audience with the Asmodean Lord and asking him to kill Luli in person. Otherwise, all the Asmodeans of the eastern land of oceans would be wiped out by Luli. The great demon god was also furious, but the Asmodean Lord did nothing. He didn't meet anyone. He only sent a message to Luli to stop the killing, and in 3 days, he would fight Luli in person at the Zhuotang city. The Asmodeans were shocked when they heard the news. 3 days seemed to be a short time. However, Luli and the others were breaching the cities too fast. In 3 days, hundreds of cities would be breached, and hundreds of millions of Asmodeans would be killed. Zhuotang Xiong felt like weeping when he heard the news. He had ordered many civilians to evacuate, but where could they go? Luli's wicked bead was fast. Could the low-level warriors run away? More importantly, Luli was killing his way to the prefectural city. He would arrive in a day. If Zhuotang Xiong didn't run away, the Zhuotang family would be doomed. If Zhuotang Xiong ran away, his authority as the chief would be tarnished. Many people were not convinced that he was the chief. In the future, he could no longer control the Zhuotang family. 3 days? Luli was doubtful. In 3 days, even if the dragon demon could run at full speed, it could not arrive. What was the Asmodean Lord up to? To be safe, Luli asked Chuan Pu to send many warriors to the major cities to monitor the road from the Beijing city to the Zhuotang family. The dragon demon was large in size and horrifying in energy. If the dragon demon were to rush over, it would not be able to hide from the warriors of the Chuanpu County. Chuan Jing was killed by the Asmodean Lord. Chuan Pu had been with Luli, so he was not killed. He had some warriors with him. It was not a problem for them to sneak into the cities. What was more, Luli was not stupid enough to start a fight with the Asmodean Lord at the Zhuotang city. He had planned to kill his way to the Zhuotang city, but on second thought, he changed his route and went to the south. He was going to kill Asmodeans. It didn't matter if he killed the Asmodeans there. Along the way, Luli rarely took action. If there were powerful Asmodeans in his way, he would kill them and leave the rest to the patriarchs of the demon-slaying hall and the earth immortal realm soul slaves. The patriarchs of the demon-slaying hall were thrilled. So many human warriors and powerful ones were killed by the Asmodeans at the demon-slaying battleground. 3 cities were razed to the ground. Now, they could kill at the ocean land of the East. This experience was something that they could brag about for a long time. They were destined to leave their names in history. One day, Chuan Pu's warriors did not send back any messages. The moles in the Beijing city did not make any moves either. It meant that the Asmodean Lord had not made a move yet. Luli went on with his unbridled attacks. The more Asmodeans he killed, the better for the human race. After all, the Asmodeans would be weakened. The next day, the Asmodean Lord still did nothing. The moles in the cities along the way did not send back any messages. It seemed that the dragon demon had not come. Luli could put his mind at ease. As long as the dragon demon did not come and the Asmodean Lord was alone, Luli was confident that he could defeat the Asmodean Lord. On the 3rd day, the Asmodean Lord made a move. He showed up at the Beijing city. He stepped into the teleportation formation and teleported to the Zhuotang city. Lu Li was relieved to hear the news. He gave up on attacking the cities and waited for the Asmodean Lord outside a city to the south of the Zhuotang city. Buzzing 2 hours later, the teleportation formation in the city glowed. Lu Li used psychic power to check. Soon, he saw a familiar figure. Whoosh! The Asmodean Lord did not go into the crack in space. Instead, he hovered in midair and stared at Lu Li. His blood-red eyes were filled with murderous intent. Asmodean Lord, you are finally here. Lu Li did not go into the wicked bead. He greeted the Asmodean Lord from the distance. His desire to fight was rising. This battle concerned the survival of the human race. Lu Li must kill the Asmodean Lord. Ha ha! The Asmodean Lord sneered and said with pride, Lu Li, you have slaughtered tens of millions of my people. You are guilty of many crimes. Today, I will enforce justice on behalf of heaven and kill you, a demon. Ha ha ha! Lu Li laughed. The Asmodean race had the word demon in its name. The two races were on opposing sides. Both wanted to destroy the other. There was no such thing as good or evil. How could the Asmodean Lord call Lu Li a demon? If the Asmodean Lord were a demon, he would not only kill warriors, but also civilians of the Asmodean race. Are you confident? The Asmodean Lord sneered. Lu Li, I admit that you are a rare talent for the human race. But today you will die. If there is a next life, remember not to be so arrogant. You have been too careless. P.S. Continue to repay the debt. You still owe 7 chapters. Readers will find a picture of the dragon demon and post it on the official WeChat account tomorrow. She does look alike. There will be a poll on WeChat to find out which heroine you like the most. Go and vote. WeChat account. Search for Night of the Demon and follow. You can browse the history of the Night of the Demon. There are portraits of Jiang Qiling and Lu Ling and some information about the Undying. Chapter 888. The contempt in the Asmodean Lord's eyes was evident. He was dozens of miles away from Lu Li, but the Asmodean Lord's eyesight was so good that he could see it clearly. At Lu Li's and the Asmodean Lord's level, verbal quarrels were beneath their dignity. They might as well kill the Asmodean Lord with one strike. The Asmodean Lord had said these words on purpose. Either his temperament had changed, or he had someone to rely on. A person's temperament could not change, not to mention that the Asmodean Lord had lived for so many years. Lu Li's expressions were solemn. He stopped underestimating the Asmodean Lord. He used psychic power to check, but did not find anything useful. He winked at Yi Cha, who was hiding in the dark, and told him to check the surroundings. The Asmodean Lord's biggest reliance was the dragon demon. If the Asmodean Lord had brought the dragon demon with him, Lu Li would be in trouble. That was because the wicked bead was as fast as the dragon demon. The dragon demon could chase after the wicked bead until the wicked bead was cracked. Are you afraid? The Asmodean Lord noticed the seriousness on Lu Li's face. He laughed out loud. It is too late even if you are. Lu Li, I will kill you today. Then I will break into the demon-slaying city and conquer the great land. Eventually, I will conquer the heaven reverse universe. From then on, you humans will become our slaves. We can kill you and torture you as we please. Ha ha ha. Buzzing, 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 the teleportation formation in the small city was glowing. So Teng Xiong and the others were teleported over. The Asmodean Lord was fighting here. Of course, warriors from the eastern land of oceans would come and cheer. All hail the Asmodean Lord. Kill the human bastard. Kill the murderous dogs and avenge the people of our demon clan. Yes, yes. Kill the human emperor. Our Asmodean army will be invincible and we will dominate the heaven reverse universe. Kill all the human males and domesticate all the human females into female dogs. The people in the city were clamoring. Of course, nobody dared to come out. They would be courting death if they came out. Luli had killed countless human sovereign realm warriors and earth immortal realm warriors. Luli was not one to be intimidated. Ignoring the powerful Asmodeans, he looked at the Asmodean lord and said coldly, "If so, what are you waiting for? I am standing here. Come and kill me." "All right," the great demon god answered. His body directly tore through the void, burrowed into the spatial crack, and disappeared in midair. Buzz, the bead of life came out from Lu Li's abdomen. He held the wicked bead in his other hand. Strands of feather wind suddenly gathered in the air, filling up an area with a radius of 30 miles around Lu Li and enveloping the small cities nearby. Fortunately, the city's protection formation was activated after the Asmodean lord left. Otherwise, many people would have been attacked by the feather wind, and many would be rolling on the ground in pain. Luli released some feather wind to track down the Asmodean lord. Feather wind was a special kind of wind. Like the wind, Luli could be found in every corner of the universe. Luli could know any changes in space in an instant. "He's here." Through the feather wind, Luli could sense something special in space. Although the great demonic god had entered the spatial crack, he was still within the spatial crack. How could there not be any fluctuations when a living being was stealthily moving through the space? Because of this, Luli could easily locate the Asmodean lord. As a matter of fact, the moment the Asmodean lord showed up, Luli could have covered the Asmodean lord with a feather wind castle. But Luli didn't do that. At the moment, the Asmodean lord was approaching Luli. He was 3 miles away from the Asmodean lord, but Luli showed no signs of taking actions. Luli was trying to figure out what the Asmodean lord was relying on. He was waiting for Yicha's reply. If the dragon demon was nearby, Luli would run away at once instead of wasting time with the Asmodean lord. 2 miles, 1.5 miles. They were getting closer. Luli and the Asmodean lord could reach each other in the time for a few breaths given their speed. Finally, Luli made his move. "Feather Wind Castle," he shouted. A castle came into being in midair. It was not the one where Luli killed Zhua Tengying, but the Feather Wind Castle that Luli had. The castle was half transparent. It was the Feather Wind Castle that Luli built outside the demon-slaying city. Luli didn't use his full strength right away because he wanted to force the Asmodean lord to use his trump card. Luli would not be able to rest easy before he could figure out the Asmodean lord's trump card. It was as if a poisonous snake was hiding in the dark, ready to bite him at any time. Swish! The Asmodean lord was forced out. The Feather Wind Castle was impressive. It could shake up space. Last time, outside the demon-slaying city, the Asmodean lord was forced out. It was a familiar castle and a familiar pattern of attack. As soon as the Asmodean lord came out, the Asmodean lord was attacked in his soul. But this time, the Asmodean lord was not afraid at all. Instead, he sneered and said, "Luli, is that all you have? Do you really think you can kill me?" The Asmodean lord took out a wood carving. It was a warrior, a ferocious-looking, burly man with glaring eyes. His eyes glowed in a red glow. He looked like an Asmodean. As soon as the wood carving came out, a surge of evil spirit spread out. The evil spirit was so strong that even Luli felt suffocated. It was as if this was not a wood carving, but a real Asmodean lord. Buzzing, the wood carving glowed. Then, a blood-red shield came out and enveloped the Asmodean lord. The space behind the Asmodean lord trembled. Several rooms made of feather wind collapsed. A vacuum appeared around the Asmodean lord. This wood carving, Luli's expressions changed again. He was familiar with the energy of the wood carving. Once, Ji Zhantian had a similar weapon. One look, and Luli knew that this was the originator artifact of the Asmodeans. The originator artifact was the same as the originator artifact, a weapon of the same level, infinitely close to a relic. Also, the divine energy in the wood carving was richer and more vigorous. It was not like the originator artifact that was at the end of its life. In the history of the human race, there were many chosen warriors. 3 of them invaded the 4 lands and attempted to wipe out the 4 alien races. But in the end, they failed because the 4 alien races all had originator artifacts. So, the immortal that the Asmodeans worshipped does exist. The Asmodean Emperor is not dead. He is real, and he is still alive. He must be one of the mighty warriors in the divinity. Luli nodded to himself. The divine energy in the originator artifact was proof that the Asmodean Emperor was one of the immortals. However, in history, none of the Asmodeans became an immortal. Where did this Asmodean Emperor come from? How did he become the immortal that the Asmodeans worshipped? The other 3 alien races all had originator artifacts. Having seen the Asmodeans' originator artifact, Luli believed that the other 3 races' originator artifacts were real. Then, how did the immortals of the 3 alien races come into being? Luli. Chapter 889. Woo-woo, the Asmodean Lord activated the originator artifact. Xian energy glowed in his hand. The originator artifact glowed in a dark light. The eyes on the wood sculpture began to glow in a blood-red light. Streaks of dark air spread out from the originator artifact. A ghostly cry came out. It was not loud, but everyone within a radius of 300 miles could hear it clearly. That sound. Luli frowned as if he was facing a formidable enemy. He felt something was wrong, very wrong. There was a strange power in this voice. It was the smell of divine power. Plop, plop. In the distance, many people in the city dropped to their knees. Their eyes were filled with terror, as if they had seen the most horrifying scene in the world. Many people were trembling. Their lips were pale, and their pupils were contracted. But they did not make any sound. They were all devout. How? Soon, an image appeared in front of Luli's eyes. He noticed that his surroundings had changed. He found himself in a huge altar. He was surrounded by demons and monsters. They were flying around and howling into the sky. They looked ferocious and intimidating. There was the 3-headed man covered in black scales, the one-eyed monster that was as strong as an ape, the black bear that was tied up in chains, the old witch that was crawling with poisonous insects. Even with Luli's composure, he was taken aback by this sudden scene. But he soon realized that these were all illusions. If they were real, any of the demons here could tear him apart. Why would the Asmodean Lord wait until this day? He would have leveled the demon-slaying city. This originator artifact of the Asmodeans is impressive. Luli nodded to himself. He could feel divine energy in this illusion. In other words, this illusion could confuse everyone so that the Asmodean Lord could approach quietly and successfully assassinate the target. No wonder the 3 chosen warriors that went to the eastern land of oceans failed. Luli could still feel the soul attack in the sound. It was silent, like a frog being boiled in warm water. Soul attacks are getting stronger. Luli checked and sneered inwardly. He had a silver dragon mark in his soul pond. He was not afraid of any soul attacks. The Asmodean Lord had miscalculated. Buzzing, Luli's soul pond glowed as a silver dragon flew out from his core of soul and hovered outside his soul pond. Luli felt the soul attack was broken and he was no longer affected. You want to trap me with a mere illusion? Break. Luli opened his mouth and let out a roar. This time, he mobilized the divine energy in his bead of life and used Dragon Roar skill. Since this illusion was supported by divine power, he would have to use divine power to break it. Half of Luli's divine energy was used to strengthen his physical body. The other half was stored in his bead of life. He used some to enhance the line diagram. Boom, boom, boom. The power of the Dragon Roar divine skill, which was released using divine power, was extremely terrifying. The space around it trembled, and tiny spatial cracks appeared. The wind raged, and the faint roar of thunder could be heard. This roar shook the heavens and the earth. It could be heard from thousands of miles away. Chi, the evil spirits around Luli melted away like snow. The dark sky brightened up. The ghostly voices were gone, and peace was restored. Well, In the distance, the Asmodean Lord was taken aback. He did not launch a surprise attack, because Luli did not react at all. Not even the feather wind castle disappeared. It was not the best time for the Asmodean Lord to strike. The originator artifact had many functions. The first was defense, the second was illusion, and the third was soul attack. Soul attack and illusion were complementary. The longer one stayed in the illusion, the stronger the soul attack would be. Luli broke the illusion in an instant, which rendered the soul attack ineffective. The wood carving glowed and returned to its original state. In the distance, the illusion in the minds of the Asmodeans and the powerful warriors disappeared. Even though they were in the illusion, they could hear Luli's thunderous voice. How? The human emperor is so strong. He can break the illusion of the originator artifact. How is that possible? The illusion of the originator artifact is supported by divine energy. Nobody below the immortal realm can break it. Unless Luli has divine energy. Well, the human spy sent me a message. It seems that Luli learned something at the demon-slaying city. There was an anomaly in heaven and earth, and he was granted divine energy. Yes, last time I went with the Asmodean Lord and I saw it with my own eyes. Many human sovereign realm warriors and earth immortal realm Asmodeans had come to the city. They were discussing. They were worried. Not even the originator artifact could trap Luli. Could the Asmodean Lord defeat Luli? That being said, last time, Luli's feather-wine castle trapped the Asmodean Lord. That being said, the Asmodean Lord could teleport away easily. However, it seemed that the Asmodean Lord was going to lose again. Asmodean Lord, your attack is over. Now it is my turn, Luli shouted. The Asmodean Lord had shown his trump card. The originator artifact was powerful, but Luli happened to be able to counter it. Luli was not afraid of soul attacks, and he had divine energy. No matter how powerful the originator artifact was, it was useless against him. Feather Wind Castle, disperse, rise again, Luli shouted. The Feather Wind Castle disappeared. Then, a cyan-colored castle emerged in midair. That castle did not look like an illusion, but a real one, a huge city with a radius of more than 30 miles. How? In the small city, Zhuo Tengxiong and the others were taken aback. Building a city with a single thought? Was this a skill of an immortal? This was not an illusory castle. It looked like a real, huge castle. More importantly, their psychic power could not penetrate into the city. What was more, the city was dangerous. Everyone felt that if they were enveloped by the city, they would not be able to come out. Oh no, the two masters of the earth, immortal realm masters, looked at each other in shock. They had speculated that Luli must have something to rely on, since he was acting so boldly. They had thought that Luli had only made some small progress. They did not expect that Luli had made such great progress. You have made great progress. Inside the Feather Wind Castle, the Asmodean Lord's eyes flickered. He held the originator artifact in his hand, which glowed in a red light, and covered him up. However, he could not stop the soul attacks in the Feather Wind. Billions of golden needles were piercing into his soul, aiming at his soul. Go! The Asmodean Lord took out a dagger in his other hand. He stabbed at the space, trying to tear it apart to see if he could use spatial transference. However, after several stabs, nothing happened. This time, the Asmodean Lord was taken aback. The space was sealed. The Feather Wind Castle was so much more powerful. Luli's laughter suddenly came from the sky. The Asmodean Lord could not tell where Luli was at all. The Asmodean Lord tried to use psychic power, but it could not penetrate the Feather Wind Castle. The Asmodean Lord was even more worried. Luli's voice came again. Asmodean Lord, did you say that I've been too careless? Now, let me tell you that. Now that you are in my Feather Wind Castle, you will not be able to leave. Die. Bang. Chapter 890. After the Feather Wind Castle evolved, soul attacks were more powerful. Back at the demon-slaying city, The Asmodean Lord already could not stand the Featherwind attacks. This time, the soul attack was even more horrifying. How could he stand it? Very good. Luli, you have successfully enraged me. The Asmodean Lord bellowed. The wood carving in his hand glowed. The blood-red shield glowed brightly. The Asmodean Lord managed to stand the soul attack of the Featherwind. He shouted, Luli, I will show you the real power of the originator artifact. The Asmodean Lord threw the wood carving at Luli. The wood carving expanded in size and turned into a huge statue. The statue glowed in red. Then it began to move and turned into a killer. Puppetry. Luli frowned. The wicked bead in his hand glowed. He was ready to go in at any time. He sensed danger from the puppet that the wood carving had turned into. Swish! The wood carving waved its hand. A blade of wind came into being and tore apart many rooms in the castle. The blade of wind was fast. In the blink of an eye, it had reached Lu Li. The wicked bead in Lu Li's hand enlarged and shielded Lu Li from the blade of wind. Swish, swish, the wood carving kept sending out blade of wind, and it was getting closer. Lu Li decided not to go back into the wicked bead. Instead, he let out the patriarchs and Earth Immortal Realm soul slaves. He shouted, attack that wood carving puppet. Boom, boom, boom. The more than a dozen Earth Immortal Realm soul slaves bombarded the wood carving puppet from a distance. All of them used profound meanings or bloodline skills. But what shocked everyone was that the wooden sculpture wasn't damaged in the slightest after more than a dozen terrifying attacks landed on it. The wood carving was glowing. It had fended off all the attacks and was not knocked back one bit. Okay, you can go back now. Seeing that the more than a dozen Earth Immortal Realm soul slaves were going to attack again, Luli waved his hand and let them back into the wicked bead. The wood carving was protected by divine energy. Earth Immortal Realm soul slaves' attacks could not harm the wood carving. Those Earth Immortal Realm soul slaves would only be committing suicide if they stayed. Now the last move. Lu Li's eyes flickered as he stared at the wood carving puppet that was getting closer. If the last move did not work, he would have to hide in the wicked bead. Little White. When the wood carving broke through dozens of rooms and was only 2 miles away from Luli shouted. The wicked bead glowed as Little White came out. Little White dashed to the left like a white comet and flew toward the wood carving. The wood puppet had been hacking at the blades of wind, but they were all blocked by the wicked bead. Little White's appearance did not trigger any reaction from the wood puppet. In the distance, the great demonic god sensed that something was wrong. His eyes flickered with a red light and runes appeared. The wooden carving puppet turned around and suddenly waved its arms at Shao Bai, shooting out wind blades. At that moment, Little White flashed, and its speed suddenly increased explosively. It let out a few strange cries, and its body once again turned into an arc, dodging a few wind blades. Its small body burrowed under the wooden statue's arm. Whitey's 4 claws grabbed onto the wooden carving puppet's arm, and its little mouth bit down on the arm. Luli scanned with psychic power. He was nervous. If Little White couldn't break this wooden sculpture puppet, then he would lose this battle. Crack, crack. What shocked Luli was Little White bit the arm of the wooden sculpture, but it was as if it was biting an iron plate. The wooden sculpture glowed with divine energy. Little White could not break the defense of the wooden sculpture. Squeak, squeak, Little White bellowed in rage. Then its teeth glowed. Little White opened its mouth and bit at the wooden sculpture again. Crack. This time, the wooden sculpture made a crisp sound. Luli was overjoyed when he used psychic power to check. A piece of the wooden sculpture's arm was bitten off by Little White. The glow on the wooden sculpture dimmed down, and Little White shrank back to its original size. Ow! How is this possible? The Asmodean Lord stared at Little White in astonishment. What kind of Shen beast was this? How could it crack the wooden sculpture's defense? This was the originator artifact of the Asmodean, and it was protected by divine energy. Come back. The Asmodean Lord had no time to be surprised. He used a skill to call back the wooden sculpture. If Little White took a few more bites, the originator artifact would be ruined. Whoosh! The wooden sculpture dashed back in a blur. Little White wanted to go after it, but Luli shook his head and said, "Little White, come back. I will take care of the rest. Asmodean Lord, what else do you have? If not, this will be the end of you." It was impossible for the Asmodean Lord to leave the Feather Wind Castle. The originator artifact had been damaged by Little White. Even if it could still be used, it would not be as powerful. If the Asmodean Lord had no other means, he would lose his life here today. Squeak, squeak, Little White flew back and stood on Lu Li's shoulder. It held its head up high, looking very proud. The Asmodean Lord grabbed the wooden sculpture without saying anything. He checked it carefully. Then he sighed in relief. Luckily, it is only partial damage. Otherwise, I, Yamamoto Chu, would be the sinner of the Asmodeans. Good. The Asmodean Lord turned to Little White and nodded. Luli, I admit that your little beast is good. The originator artifact has been around for hundreds of thousands of years, and this is the first time it has been damaged. But if you think you can defeat me with this, you are too naive. As a matter of fact, the fact that you are here today means that you are doomed. Nobody can stop you, not even 100 semi-god realm warriors. What? Luli was taken aback. The Asmodean Lord was not one to talk big. Usually, when powerful warriors fought, they would not waste words. Today, the Asmodean Lord had emphasized this again and again, which meant that he had other means. Buzzing, the Asmodean Lord held the wooden sculpture and poured Xian energy into it. The wooden sculpture was damaged, but as Xian energy poured in, it began to glow. A rune flew out from the wooden sculpture and came into being above the head of the wooden sculpture. Oh no, Luli had a bad feeling about this. At this moment, he had an inkling of what was going on. He yelled, "Asmodean Lord, how dare you?" Swish, Luli waved his hands. Dragons of wind came into being and dashed toward the Asmodean Lord. At the same time, Luli shouted to Little White, "Little White, go and bite the Asmodean Lord or destroy the wooden sculpture." Whoosh! Little White dashed on in a blur. Little White was not afraid of the feather wind. It could come and go as it pleased. In the time for a few breaths, Little White could reach the Asmodean Lord. Ha ha ha! The dragons of feather wind dashed over and attacked the Asmodean Lord. The Asmodean Lord's soul was being attacked by hundreds of millions of golden needles. But he fought back the pain. He laughed wildly. Ha! 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 Luli, you have finally come to your senses, but it is too late. The last rune in the wooden sculpture flew to the head of the wooden sculpture. Those runes formed a strange formation in midair. As soon as the formation was formed, the surrounding space began to tremble. A surge of horrifying energy swept across. The Feather Wind Castle was torn apart. "Little White, come back!" Luli yelled as he saw that the formation was expanding and the space was trembling more violently. The Asmodean Lord was right. It was too late. The formation had taken shape. Luli was one step behind. In midair, a beast of the void came out. Luli finally understood why the Asmodean Lord said that he was doomed. Chapter 891. The Asmodean Lord's trump card had always been the Dragon Demon. While Luli was cultivating, the Asmodean Lord had captured more than 200,000 young boys and girls. The Dragon Demon had matured. Even though the Dragon Demon could not reach the peak and its abilities were not close to the immortal realm, even the Asmodean Lord was frightened by the Dragon Demon. The Asmodean Lord felt his soul was trembling. The Asmodean Lord said that he would fight Lu Li in 3 days. He was not cultivating, nor was he planning anything. He was building a formation. Through the formation and the originator artifact, the Asmodean Lord could summon the Dragon Demon wherever he was. When the Dragon Demon showed up, Lu Li would not survive. This was the source of the Asmodean Lord's confidence, his trump card. Hoot! Hoot! The Dragon Demon merely poked its head out and a surge of horrifying energy spread out. The space was shaking violently. Lu Li and Little White were overwhelmed by the horrifying chi and blood. The man and the beast felt they could not even move their fingers at this moment. It was like a child facing a fourth or fifth rank Xian beast. The energy of the Xian beast had shocked the child's soul. The child fell to the ground, unable to control his body. He could only put on a look of terror and desperation. In addition to Lu Li and Little White, even Zhua, Tengxiong, and the others in the city in the distance were overwhelmed by the energy of the dragon demon. Many civilians of the Asmodean race were scared out of their wits. Thousands of Asmodeans fell to the ground. They were scared to death. Humans and Asmodeans were the same. Once they were frightened, their blood would freeze and their brains would stop pumping blood. In extreme fear, the heart would contract. Those in poor health would suffocate or die of cerebral thrombosis. They would be scared to death. I am doomed. Out of instinct, Lu Li felt hopeless. Looking at the beast that was as large as the feather wind castle coming out from the void, Lu Li felt powerless and insignificant. The dragon demon was growing fast and was so powerful that no human could stand against it. Though it was not at the immortal realm, it could kill all the average semi-god realm warriors. No, another voice in Lu Li's mind bellowed. This is an illusion. The dragon demon is just a slightly stronger beast. This feeling of being invincible is just an illusion. This must be a special skill of the dragon demon. As long as I don't give up, I can move and I can get into the wicked bead. At the very least, Lu Li's life would be safe in the wicked bead. Lu Li communicated with the wicked bead with psychic power, trying to enter. Buzz! Finally, the wicked bead glowed. A strong force enveloped Lu Li, tried to suck him in. Buzz! However, the Asmodean Lord had been keeping an eye on Lu Li. When the wicked bead glowed, runes came out from his eyes. A surge of ferocious energy spread out from him. Hoot! Hoot! Almost at the same time, the dragon demon bellowed, shaking heaven and earth. The horn of the dragon demon that had just come out from the sky glowed. A huge blood-red shield covered an area with a radius of 30 miles. All living beings within a radius of 30 miles were surrounded by a red airstream. All of them were restrained in the air. Oh no! Lu Li was frozen in midair. This time, he was in a complete panic. The dragon demon was not controlled by a human compared to when it was controlled. The dragon demon had unleashed its skills so quickly that Lu Li had nowhere to run. The suction force from the wicked bead was still strong. However, Lu Li was trapped in the red airstream. He could not move at all. The suction force from the wicked bead did not work. Squeak, squeak, Little White was restrained. It kept roaring and twisting its small body. It was glowing in a white light. Little White was absorbing the red airstream. What? The Asmodean Lord did not take action. He had been monitoring Lu Li and Little White. He was surprised to see that Little White could absorb the red airstream. Kill this little beast. The Asmodean Lord pointed at Little White. The dragon demon's tail smashed Little White into the ground. Boom! A huge crack appeared on the ground. The ground was filled with boulders, and stone fragments filled the sky. The crack on the ground was bottomless. Nobody could tell how powerful the dragon demon's whip was. Little White, Lu Li yelled to himself. However, he could only open his mouth a little bit. He could not even shout. He tried to twist his body, but could not get rid of the red airstream. The red airstream had a strange ability. It could suppress a warrior's Xian energy, soul energy, and even divine energy. Lu Li wanted to mobilize divine energy from his bead of life. If he could dissolve the red airstream, he could go back into the wicked bead. However, his divine energy was suppressed and could not come out from his bead of life. This dragon demon must be a mythical beast or a magical beast from the world above. Not even divine energy can suppress its strength. Lu Li said to himself. He used psychic power to check Little White. Little White was only slightly injured. Lu Li was relieved. He thought about it and communicated with the wicked bead. He let out the 5 Earth immortal realm soul slaves. Buzzing, buzzing, the wicked bead glowed. Uncle 9 of the June family and the others came out. Lu Li did not have to explain the situation. They all took actions and aimed at the dragon demon. Boom, 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 the 5 acted quickly. They dashed to the dragon demon and used profound meaning to attack the dragon demon. The Five's goal was clear, to hurt the dragon demon so that Luli could be freed. As long as Luli could go back into the wicked bead, they could all be saved. Otherwise, if Luli died, so would all of them. They are puny. Dragon demon, kill them. The Asmodean lord looked on coldly. The attacks from the Five landed on the dragon demon, but it was as if they were hitting a piece of cold steel. Last time, they could injure the dragon demon a little bit. This time, they could not even crack the dragon demon's defense. Hoot, hoot, the horn on the dragon demon's head glowed. The 5 Earth Immortal Realm soul slaves could not move anymore. The dragon demon spread its wings. It was like a rock spreading its wings, covering up the sky. Whoosh, the dragon demon's blood-red tail twisted and swept across. A blur of red light swept across. Uncle Nine of the June family was the first to be hit. He was torn apart, and his quasi-relic armor was destroyed. Bang, bang, bang. With 5 muffled sounds, the 5 Earth Immortal Realm soul slaves exploded like 5 blood balls. Pieces of flesh danced around, and blood spilled everywhere. Squeak, squeak. Little White dashed out from underground and dashed toward the dragon demon in rage. This time, the Asmodean Lord didn't even have to give the order. The dragon demon smashed Little White into the ground again. Luli checked with psychic power. Little White's white fur was tainted with blood. Little White's defense was impressive, but it was hurt by the dragon demon. At this rate, in a few more times, Little White would become a pile of minced meat as well. The Asmodean Lord stood in midair, gazing at Luli from the distance. Luli, there are more Earth Immortal Realm soul slaves in the wicked bead. How about you let them all out? Let's see if they can save you. What other cards do you have? Use them all. Luli did not do anything stupid. Given the current situation, even 10,000 Earth Immortal Realm soul slaves would not be enough to kill the dragon demon. Cards? What other cards did Luli have? The Wicked Bead, Little White, and the Featherwind Castle were his greatest cards, but they were useless now. Am I really going to lose my life here? A thought came to Luli's mind. He could die, but what about Jiang Qiling and Bai Qiuxue? What about the humans of the Great Land? P.S. Someone said that WeChat could not follow the official account of Wicked Knight. Please explain. You can search for the account Wicked Knight or Yaoya588 in the contact list. This will show the official account of Wicked Knight. There will be an activity at the end of the year. There will be many prizes. Remember to pay attention. Chapter 892. Squeak, squeak, Little White rushed up again and again, only to be smashed down again and again. Little White and Luli had a deep relationship. It was not like the relationship between a spiritual beast and its master, but more like a family. Little White had been with Luli since it was born. Luli was Little White's only family. To it, Luli was everything. Now that Luli was in trouble, Little White would risk its life to protect Luli. Little White. Luli saw that Little White's fur was dyed red with blood, and one of its legs was lame. Little White still flew up stubbornly. Its stubborn eyes made Luli's heart bleed. However, he could do nothing at the moment. Even moving his body was difficult. He had 8 Earth Immortal Realm patriarchs in the Wicked Bead, but he dared not to let them out. He had divine energy in his bead of life, but he could not use any of it. The only thing he could use at the moment was the Rising Dragon skill. However, not even the most powerful attacks from those Earth Immortal Realm warriors could hurt the dragon demon. What was the point of doing that? Luli, I admit that you are a rare talent of the human race. But today you'll die. If there's a next life, remember not to be so arrogant and careless. The fact that you are here today means that you are destined to die. No one can stop you. Not even 100 semi-god realm cultivators can stop you from dying. Luli, there are some Earth Immortal Realm warriors in the Wicked Bead. Why don't you release them all? See if I can save you. What other trump cards do you have? Use them all. The Asmodean Lord's words echoed in Luli's ears. Just now, Luli thought the Asmodean Lord was just talking nonsense. Now, he felt it was ironic. I was too careless. He had been too careless. Luli had thought that with the completion of the Featherwind Castle, he would be doomed in a fight against the Asmodean Lord. Little did he know that everything he had done and everything he could rely on were laughable in the eyes of the Asmodean Lord. He could have run away earlier. If he had entered the Wicked Bead at the very beginning, he would have had a chance to escape. As long as he could find a place to hide and continue comprehending the line diagram, he might stand a chance. But now, he no longer had that chance. Trump card? What other trump cards do I have? Luli laughed mockingly. His last will to survive made him instinctively recall all the skills and abilities he had. Bloodline Divine Skill, Burning Blood, Dragon Roar, Blood Claw, and Rising Dragon Art were all useless. Speed Profound Meaning, Space Vibration, Soul Shattering Skill, and Featherwind Castle. It was also useless. Luli had gone through everything he could think of. He could not move at all. No matter how many ways he had to kill the dragon demon, it would be pointless. No. All of a sudden, an idea came to Luli's mind. He remembered something, a piece of treasure that he had overlooked, a piece of treasure from the divinity. The blood of the Slayer. This was a treasure obtained from the inner hall of the Wicked Bead. The Wicked Bead came from the divinity, and the Slayer's blood came from a powerful warrior. The blood contained horrifying energy. Luli couldn't even open the bottle for too long, let alone consume it. He was almost controlled by the evil spirit inside and turned into a killing maniac. Refining the blood of the Slayer? This was the last way, the last chance for him to turn the tables. Otherwise, not only would he die, the Wicked Bead would be cracked open as well. Jiang Qiling and Bai Qiuxue would die. The 8 patriarchs and Little White would all perish. However, was that blood something he could refine? His mortal body could stand the horrifying energy. But what if the blood entered his body and his body exploded? Boom! From down below came a loud noise, which pulled Luli back from his thoughts. He used psychic power to check his killing intent sword. Little White was smashed into the ground by the dragon demon again. This time, Little White could not get up anymore. Many of its bones were broken and its limbs were broken. Little White was breathing in, but not out. It could die at any moment. Never mind. Luli made up his mind. He would have to try if he was going to die anyway. He thought about it. The Wicked Bead glowed. Patriarch Lei and the others came out. Exerting all his strength, Luli shouted, "All of you, scatter and run. This is an order. Anyone who disobeys will be expelled from the demon-slaying hall." Patriarch Lei and the others did not know what was going on outside. Out of instinct, they wanted to take action. However, they were frightened when they saw the mountain-like dragon demon. Expelled from the demon-slaying hall. Hearing Luli's last sentence, everyone came back to their senses. Without any hesitation, they fled to all sides. Luli's tone was stern. Nobody dared to disobey him. "You want to run?" The Asmodean Lord sneered. The runes in his eyes glowed. He was about to control the dragon demon to restrain all the patriarchs. But at this moment, when he threw a casual glance at Luli, his pupils contracted and he was taken aback. Luli's interspatial ring glowed as he took out a jade bottle. Luli grabbed the jade bottle and used his thumb to knock the cork away. Then he poured out a drop of blood. Buzzing. As soon as the drop of blood appeared, a surge of horrifying energy spread out from the blood, enveloping an area with a radius of 3 miles. The Asmodean Lord smelled the strong smell of blood. Then his eyes glowed red. He was filled with murderous intent. His blood was boiling. At this moment, he felt he had become an Asmodean Lord who could tear apart some living beings. In addition to the Asmodean Lord, Patriarch Lei and the others stopped running. They stared at the drop of blood, the dark red blood with golden runes. Everyone's eyes turned red. They were filled with murderous intent, and their blood was boiling. Hoot hoot! The dragon demon cried into the sky. It was agitated. Flapping its wings, the dragon demon retreated for 2 miles. Looking at the blood of the Slayer in its golden eyes, the dragon demon seemed to be afraid. It was as if not even the dragon demon could stand the murderous intent in the blood. Squeak, squeak! Whitey, who had been smashed into the ground, opened its eyes. It stared at the drop of blood, its eyes shining brightly. It was filled with desire, as if it wanted to swallow the drop of blood in one gulp. Consume it. Luli was breathing heavily. His blood was boiling. His face was ferocious. His eyes were red. From his throat came a voice that sounded like a beast. Blood of the Slayer, I hope you will not disappoint me. Luli pointed at the blood. The drop of blood flew into his mouth. He closed his eyes and focused on his body. He did not know how to consume the blood of the Slayer. He had to go with the most primitive method, which was to swallow the blood and let it merge with his own. Roar! As the blood entered his body, Luli felt he had swallowed a ball of fire. He felt his body was burning. Overwhelmed by the pain, Luli raised his head and bellowed. Even though the dragon demon had stepped back, Luli was still surrounded by the red airstream. He was still tied up. He bellowed into the sky. He was filled with murderous intent. He was like a demon from hell that was about to break free from its shackles and tear apart all living beings. Luli swallowed the blood of the Slayer. The Asmodean Lord and the other patriarchs came back to their senses. The red glow in their eyes faded away, and the murderous intent died down. Chapter 893. The Asmodean Lord had lived for 800 years. He became the Asmodean Lord when he was over 200 years old. He had seen many things and read many secret histories of the Asmodeans. The Asmodean Lord was undoubtedly the most knowledgeable among the Asmodeans. Naturally, the Asmodean Lord was knowledgeable, and he knew how dangerous Luli was. The Asmodean Lord did not know what Luli took, but he knew that it was not something from the Heaven Reverse universe. Also, it was not something from a mortal world. The Asmodean Lord sensed the power of an immortal in that drop of blood. The Asmodean Lord could summon the dragon demon from the region of doom, and he was the Asmodean Lord, the most loyal servant of the Asmodean Lord. Naturally, the Asmodean Lord knew something about immortals. The Asmodean Lord knew how powerful an immortal was. If Luli were to consume that drop of blood, everyone would die, including the dragon demon. Therefore, the Asmodean Lord sent the dragon demon to kill Luli at once. Only before Luli consumed the blood could the Asmodean Lord have a chance to kill him. Hoot! Hoot! The dragon demon bellowed, but it was afraid to approach Luli. The dragon demon's eyes were filled with fear, as if Luli was an immortal and the dragon demon did not dare to offend him. Dragon demon, I order you to kill Luli. The Asmodean Lord bellowed again. The runes in his eyes glowed brighter. A surge of ferocious energy spread from him toward the dragon demon. The dragon demon was suppressed by the Asmodean Lord. A glint of violence rose in its eyes. The dragon demon bellowed, spread its wings, flew up and smashed at Luli with its huge claw. Roar, roar, Luli was still bellowing like a beast. He felt every inch of his skin and muscles were burning, and his blood was boiling. He felt he was about to explode. The energy in the Slayer's blood was horrifying. He could not stand it. I am dead. I am dead. Luli felt he could no longer contain that energy. His blood was about to explode, which would lead to a chain reaction. His bead of life and spirit sea would explode at the same time, and he would die. Buzzing, right at that moment, the silver dragon mark in Luli's soul pond glowed. That silver dragon flew out from the soul pond and entered Luli's body. The silver dragon circled around him. Then, something miraculous happened. The berserk energy from the Slayer's blood quickly calmed down after the silver dragon swam past. Luli's boiling blood quickly calmed down, and the pain eased. All right, Luli was relieved. Just now, he felt he was about to explode. He didn't expect that the silver dragon could not only protect his soul pond, but also suppress the Slayer's blood. Hoot! Hoot! From outside came the bellow of the dragon demon, followed by a piercing noise. A surge of horrifying energy spread out. Luli sensed fatal danger. Buzz! Luli opened his eyes all of a sudden. His eyes were blood red. A surge of killing intent spread out from his eyes. That horrifying energy was stronger than that of the dragon demon. Hoot! Hoot! Once again, the dragon demon was afraid. It was about to slap Lu Li with its paw, but the dragon demon was hesitating. Dragon demon, charge! The Asmodean lord bellowed in rage. The runes on his body glowed. A surge of energy spread out from him. Finally, the dragon demon had made up its mind. It swung its huge paw at Lu Li. Grand Master! Patriarch Lei and the others shouted in terror. How strong was the dragon demon's paw? Not to mention Lu Li, even a powerful warrior of the semi-god realm would be smashed into pieces by this slap. Squeak! Squeak! Little White, who was on the ground, screamed in terror. It could not stand up. Little White struggled to its feet. It flew up and kept yelling, trying to warn Lu Li to move away. However, Lu Li was still entangled by the red airstream. He could not move at all. How could he dodge? Lu Li did not intend to dodge at all. His blood-red eyes were filled with the desire to fight. It was a strange feeling. An inexplicable thought came to his mind. This horrifying dragon demon did not seem to scare him at all. Instead, he was more like an ant. This was a strange feeling. Previously, when Lu Li saw the dragon demon, he felt chills like a child seeing a huge Xian beast. But at the moment, he felt the dragon demon was a small beast that he could crush with a wave of his hand. Roar! Out of instinct, Lu Li made a move. From his throat came a beast-like growl. He put some strength into his hands. Then, something strange happened. A ray of red light came out from Lu Li. Following that, a surge of horrifying energy spread out from his body. The red airstream that was entangling him disappeared. Lu Li swung his fist out of instinct and punched at the huge beast claw in the sky, just like the seawater being evaporated under the high temperature. The scene froze. Lu Li's small fist and the dragon demon's mountain-like palm met. Lu Li's puny body and the dragon demon's mountain-like body formed a strong visual impact. It was as if an ant was trying to shake the world. Boom! With a muffled sound, something unbelievable happened. Space trembled, and a blast spread to all sides. Then that mountain-sized dragon demon was smashed up like a meteorite into the sky. As for Lu Li, he did not move an inch in midair. Silence. The entire place was deathly silent. Everyone followed the dragon demon's gaze to the sky. They were confused, as if this was a dream or an illusion. This could not be happening. Whoosh! Soon, the dragon demon fell down and smashed into a nearby mountain, flattening a small hill. The ground within a radius of 300 miles was shaking violently. The small city was shaking as well. A cloud of dust rose up from the dragon demon, covering up the sky and the earth. Hiss, hiss. It was not until this moment that people came back to their senses. What greeted them was the sound of gasping. Everyone stared at the dragon demon that was smashed into the hill, and then at Lu Li, who was standing in midair with pride. They could not believe what they had just seen. No, look at Lu Li's hair. Some Asmodeans in the small city shouted in surprise. They looked up at Lu Li's hair, only to see that his black hair had turned white. Grandmaster's hair? Patriarch Lei and the others shouted in surprise. Lu Li's hair was black a moment ago. How could it turn white after one punch? It was just a blink of an eye. This was so strange that people were stunned. More importantly, Lu Li had smashed away the dragon demon with one punch. The combination of the two made the situation even more bizarre. How strong was the dragon demon? The endless ravines on the ground were the most convincing proof of this. One move from the dragon demon could crush a city, flatten a mountain, and tear apart space. Words could not describe the dragon demon's strength. Such a powerful move was smashed away by Lu Li with one punch. Also, Lu Li did not even tremble. It was as if Lu Li had smashed away not a 10,000 feet long beast, but a fly. Is this the strength of an immortal? Chapter 894. That is so strong. After Lu Li punched out, he didn't move again. He was also frightened by what he saw. Just now, when he punched, some of the energy in the Slayer's blood was mobilized. At that moment, Luli felt he had mastered a surge of horrifying energy that could blow up heaven and earth. He could even smash the towering mountain, let alone the dragon demon. Is this the power of an immortal? Luli remembered the scene of the white-haired young man killing demons with a saber. Those demons were all stronger than the dragon demon. However, they were like lambs to the Slayer's saber. One move, and several demons would be cut into pieces. The Slayer was unstoppable. What? My hair? Finally, Luli noticed that his hair had turned white. He scratched his hair in surprise and then checked his body. Nothing had changed, but he did not worry. His hair turning white was not a big deal. He could get some elixirs to nourish it. The most important thing now was to kill the Asmodean Lord and the dragon demon. He could feel the energy in the Slayer's blood was evaporating. He did not have much time. Asmodean Lord, go to hell. Luli stared at the Asmodean Lord with his blood-red eyes. Then his bead of life glowed. A feather wind castle came out and covered up the Asmodean Lord. Luli dashed out as well. Dragon demon. The Asmodean Lord was scared out of his wits. He yelled. The runes in his eyes glowed. Not far away, the dragon demon spread its wings under the control of the Asmodean Lord. The dragon demon flew up and smashed at the feather wind castle with its huge claw. Boom! This move was powerful. Space trembled and a blast spread out. The feather wind castle was torn apart. The dragon demon smashed at Luli with its claw and its steel-like tail, trying to strangle Luli to death. Piss off, Luli shouted. He punched at the dragon demon's claw again. The dragon demon was smashed away. That steel-like tail was still coming at Luli. The dragon demon wanted to entangle Luli and fly up together. Luli snorted. He reached out his hands and grabbed the dragon demon's tail. Then he swung his arms and swung the dragon demon up. Boom! He swung the dragon demon around in the air and then smashed the dragon demon into the ground. Once again, the earth quaked and the mountains shook. A huge pit appeared on the ground. Rise! Luli exerted strength in his arms. He swung the dragon demon up again and then smashed it into the ground again and again. In the time for a few breaths, the dragon demon had been smashed into the ground for dozens of times. Boom, 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 muffled explosions rang out incessantly. The ground nearby was constantly shaking, and the walls of the small city in the distance had already cracked open. Many buildings in the city suddenly collapsed, burying many people alive. But at the moment, the city was in dead silence. Many Asmodeans were looking at Luli with psychic power. Their eyes were filled with fear, as if they had seen the most horrifying scene in the world. Luli was 6 feet and 80 centimeters tall. Compared to the human race, he was taller and more powerful. But compared to the barbarian race, he was like a baby. Compared to this huge dragon demon, he was like an elephant and an ant. At the moment, an ant was grabbing the tail of an elephant, swinging the elephant in the air and smashing it into the ground again and again. How could the Asmodeans not be dumbfounded by such an incongruous scene? How? Elder Lay and the others were tongue-tied and speechless. Their strongest attacks could not even leave a scratch on the dragon demon's skin. That was a testament to the dragon demon's strength. The dragon demon was as strong as a mythical beast, and yet it was being swung up and smashed into the ground by Luli. A huge pit appeared on the ground, as deep as an abyss. Crack, crack, the Asmodean Lord's teeth were chattering. He was hesitating. The feather wind castle was breached. He could use spatial transference to run away. But if he left, there would be no one to control the dragon demon. The dragon demon might be killed by Luli, and the Asmodean Lord would suffer a crushing defeat. This was the eastern land of oceans. Where could the Asmodean Lord go? Even if he could, what if Luli killed all the Asmodeans at the eastern land of oceans, and the Asmodean Lord was the only one left? What else could the Asmodean Lord do? Also, if Luli went to the Beijing city and destroyed the altar, then everything would be ruined. But what else could the Asmodean Lord do? Not even the dragon demon could defeat Luli. What could the Asmodean Lord do? Let's do it! the Asmodean Lord decided to take the risk. He and the Dragon Demon would work together to kill Lu Li. If this failed, the Asmodean Lord would retreat at once. His life came first. Swish, swish, the Asmodean Lord snuck into the crack in space and sneaked toward Lu Li. Lu Li was still smashing at the Dragon Demon. He did not release Featherwind. The Asmodean Lord could not find him. Grandmaster, be careful of the Asmodean Lord. Lu Li did not notice what the Asmodean Lord was doing, but Patriarch Lei and the others did. One of the patriarchs shouted when the Asmodean Lord disappeared. But Lu Li did not seem to hear him. He kept on smashing the Dragon Demon, as if he wanted to smash the Dragon Demon to death. Swish, the space behind Lu Li suddenly cracked open. The Asmodean Lord came out with the Originator artifact in his hand. The Originator artifact glowed and expanded again. The Asmodean Lord turned into a wooden sculpture, an Asmodean Lord. Die. The Asmodean Lord was overjoyed to see that Lu Li did not turn around. If the Asmodean Lord and the Originator artifact worked together, they might be able to kill Lu Li in one move. Of course, the Asmodean Lord was careful this time. The runes in his eyes glowed. The Dragon Demon that did not fight back suddenly turned around and opened its mouth to bite at Lu Li. A three-pronged attack. Patriarch Lei and the others were worried. However, they were too far away. They could not do anything but watch. Squeak, squeak, Little White was lying on the ground, tending to its wounds. Seeing that Lu Li was in danger, Little White stood up again. Its hair stood on end, and it was ready to fly up. Asmodean Lord, I have been waiting for you. Lu Li sneered. His body glowed in a red light. A surge of evil spirit surged out from his body. That evil spirit was as horrifying as the Slayer's blood. In an instant, the Asmodean Lord was trapped in the air, unable to move. Hoot! Hoot! The Dragon Demon was frightened as well. It was about to bite Lu Li, but it stopped in the air. If it were not for the fact that Lu Li had grabbed its tail, the Dragon Demon would have run away. Boy! Lu Li threw the Dragon Demon away. Then he swung his fist and punched at the wooden sculpture. Crack! The wooden sculpture was broken in half and smashed away. The glow was fading away. Lu Li could not tell if it would be of any use. Go to hell. Lu Li did not stop for a moment. His fist glowed in a red light. With destructive force, he punched at the Asmodean Lord's chest. Asmodean Lord! Zhua Tengxiong and the others shouted in terror. However, the Asmodean Lord could not move because of the evil spirit. He could only watch as Lu Li's fist came and landed on his chest. Bang! With a muffled sound, the Asmodean Lord was not smashed away. That being said, his eyes were filled with terror. In the small city, Zhua Tengxiong and the others were filled with sorrow and despair. What? Patriarch Lei and the others were stunned. They stared at the bloody fist on the Asmodean Lord's back. Lu Li had pierced through the Asmodean Lord's chest with one punch. Bang! Lu Li waved his other hand. The Asmodean Lord's head was crushed. His body fell to the ground, stirring up a cloud of dust. Chapter 895. Throughout history, many Asmodean lords were killed, but only one Asmodean lord that reached the semi-god realm was killed. In ancient times, he was killed by Emperor of Heaven Reverse. Since then, nothing like this had ever happened. Today, history was repeating itself. An Asmodean lord at the semi-god realm had been killed under the premise that he had summoned a powerful dragon demon from the region of doom. Zhua Tengxiong and the others had lost all hope. Without the Asmodean Lord and with the Originator artifact destroyed, the Dragon Demon was no match for Lu Li. Nobody could stop the Asmodeans from being destroyed. Humans and the 4 alien races were sworn enemies. The hatred between them could not be resolved. Given the chance, the 2 races would destroy and enslave each other, never giving the other a chance to rise again. Even without Lu Li, the Asmodeans had lost too many powerful Asmodeans, and nobody could stop the humans, let alone Lu Li, who was unbelievably powerful. Good. Patriarch Lay and the others were overjoyed. The death of the Asmodean Lord and the destruction of the originator artifact represented the end of the Asmodeans. If Luli could suppress or kill the dragon demon, the demon-slaying hall could be wiped out at the eastern land of oceans. Phew. Luli was neither happy nor sad after the death of the Asmodean Lord. Instead, he closed his eyes because he noticed something. Something was wrong with his body. He checked his body and noticed that he had used up too much energy. He felt as if all his energy had been sucked away. He was like a dying patient that could be killed by a gust of wind. Just now, he had been attacking and mobilizing energy from the Slayer's blood. Therefore, he did not feel much. But when he stopped, he noticed something. He checked himself, and somehow, he understood something. The Slayer's blood was overwhelming. That was the energy of an immortal. Luli, a mortal, borrowed the energy of an immortal to increase his abilities and kill his enemies easily. However, the side effects were obvious. His body's vitality had been greatly depleted. Why had his hair turned white? That was because he had used up too much of his origin energy. It was like a warrior who could only lift a weight of 50 kilograms was forced to lift a weight of 5,000 kilograms with the help of the drug. Perhaps he didn't feel anything at the time, but after the effects of the drug wore off, his body would suffer serious injuries. This was not an ordinary injury. It was not an injury caused by an assassination attempt or a severe injury like a severed arm. Instead, it was an injury to his body's yuan qi and the excessive consumption of his body's essence. We must kill the dragon demon as soon as possible. Luli made up his mind. The Asmodean Lord was dead. But what if other Asmodeans could control the dragon demon? While he could still move and the energy of the Slayer Emperor's blood had not completely disappeared, he had to control the situation. Buzz! He opened his eyes. A surge of killing intent spread out. He dashed forward and arrived above the dragon demon in a blink of an eye. The Asmodean Lord had passed away. Nobody was controlling the dragon demon. Therefore, the dragon demon was just standing there like an idiot. Even though the dragon demon's abilities had improved, its intelligence was still low. Hoot! Seeing Luli flying over, it curled up into a ball in fear and looked at Luli in fear. There was no longer any ferocious glare in its big eyes. Instead, the dragon demon was like a pitiful kitten, wagging its tail and begging for pity. Luli was going to take actions at once to break down the dragon demon's defense and kill it. However, something changed his mind. He shouted, "Dragon demon, you have two choices. Surrender to me or die." Hoot! The dragon demon did not seem to understand Luli's words. The dragon demon was confused and blinked. Luli frowned. He remembered something. He shouted to Little White in the distance, "Little White, come here." Whoosh! Little White was badly injured. But Luli had solved the crisis and killed the Asmodean Lord. Little White was excited. It flew over and snuggled into Luli's arms. Little White looked at Luli, aggrieved. Buzzing, Luli took out some soul crystals and fed them to Little White. Then he said, "Little White, tell the dragon demon in beast language that it can either surrender to me or die." Squeak, squeak, squeak. Little White nodded in excitement. Then it first stood up and it kept barking at the dragon demon, like a mountain guard dog barking at a wild beast in the mountains. Little White could communicate with Shin beasts and control many low-level Shin beasts. But Luli was not sure if Little White could communicate with the dragon demon. The dragon demon came from the Heaven Reverse Universe, not the Heaven Reverse Universe. The dragon demon understands. Luli took a look. He was encouraged to see the struggle in the dragon demon's eyes, but he kept a straight face. Instead, the murderous intent was growing stronger. He stood in midair, waiting for the dragon demon's decision. Time moved on. Luli was growing weaker. He could not stand it any longer. The weakness in his body and soul was making him fall into a deep sleep. Little White, tell the dragon demon that if it does not surrender, I will kill it right away. Luli decided not to wait. He shouted. The energy in the Slayer's blood began to be mobilized. His energy was growing more and more horrifying. His blood-red eyes were like moons, as if there was another world in them. Lu Li's hand was glowing in a red light. He was ready to take action at any time. There was a hint of struggle in the dragon demon's big eyes. After a moment of hesitation, the dragon demon suddenly cried and lowered its proud head. The dragon demon crawled on all fours, as if it was surrendering to Lu Li in a silent way. Squeak, squeak, Little White was not satisfied. It raised its mane and squeaked. The dragon demon whimpered. Between its eyebrows glowed as a blood-red bead flew out toward Lu Li's forehead. What is that? Lu Li thought the dragon demon was going to attack, but he did not sense any danger. Little White was squealing in excitement. It waved its paws as if it wanted Lu Li to take the bead. Lu Li did not move. He let the bead go in between his eyebrows. The bead flew into his soul pond. Suddenly, Lu Li understood. The dragon demon had surrendered to him and had become his spiritual beast. Through the bead, Lu Li and the dragon demon had a spiritual connection. Good. Lu Li was relieved. He was delighted. The dragon demon was powerful, but it had become his spiritual beast. From this day on, who in the Heaven Reverse universe could be his match? Who could threaten the Great Land? Buzzing, the dragon demon suddenly glowed in red. Then, the huge body of the dragon demon faded away. In the end, the dragon demon flew into between Lu Li's eyebrows and disappeared into his head. Between Lu Li's eyebrows, there was a faint red tattoo. Upon closer inspection, one could see that it was a small dragon demon. Well, the dragon demon can do this. Lu Li was surprised, but he did not have time to think. Both his soul and body were extremely weak. He put away the wicked bead and shouted to Patriarch Lei. Patriarch Lei, I will leave the rest to you. I need to rest for a while. His voice was very loud, and it was meant for the demons to hear. Before he passed out, Lu Li said in a low voice, Bring me back now. Find a strong healer to treat me. I have used up too much energy. Lu Li could have gone back to the wicked bead. After all, it was safer there. But he chose not to because he was afraid that he might not be able to come out again. His energy was exhausted. Without some miraculous elixirs, he might be in a coma for the rest of his life. P.S. One more chapter. You still owe me 5 chapters. Yesterday, the poll on the official WeChat account surprised him. He thought Bai Qiuxue was the favorite one. Who would have thought Jiang Qiling was the favorite? Just as one fan said, you guys love women who love to play in bed the most. I didn't know you were like this. I was wrong about you. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.